Welcome everybody to episode 35. What's happening? Of Blood Saint and Beers. E3 is over.
Woo!
We're gonna be talking about our final thoughts, wrapping things up, giving away some awards, and all that good stuff. So, thank you guys for tuning in.
It's been a big weekend for gamers and disappointments and fun things. Where am I? Am I missing? What's going on?
Yeah, OBS
Help.
decided to just get rid of you for a little bit. You know,
Help.
no big deal.
Where am I?
You'll be back momentarily. Believe it or not.
Hello.
Maybe.
Hello.
Probably not. Oh, look at that. Look at everything ship shape here in just a second.
Shoop shop.
So
Talk shop.
now we're a couple hours out from E3. Let's see if I go to this. Nope. Oh, there you are.
I can fill space and talk about something.
Go for it.
Dr. Disrespect got banned for streaming in a bathroom. That's
Yeah,
pretty funny.
probably one of the craziest things to have now come out of what is happening? OBS is breaking.
Apparently he was his first IRL stream, which I don't know if that's true, but he just walked right into a bathroom and got banned.
All right, we're going back to the intro. Everybody, stop looking at me. Well, I'll get this sorted out.
Look as hard as you can.
I see what I did.
Get your friends, get them to look at him.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. Like the first time, you could make the case that he just it just happened on a whim, but since then he went back multiple times, or his film crew went back in multiple times.
Yeah, there were like multiple clips or something, and it's like, what are you even doing? Like,
super illegal to film inside of a public restroom.
And it's not even like I saw some comments just like reading online about it, and some people were like, well, it's still a gray area in streaming IRL. I'm like, it's not a gray area like in your brain, like in terms of privacy. Like,
it's not a gray area in terms of the law either.
Yeah, so, it's actually written in laws.
And if you break a law, you're violating Twitch TOS. So it's not a gray area at all. But
streamed yourself committing a crime.
Saint's back. He's there. Thank you, OBS. Shout outs to them once again. But like I said, we're a couple hours out, and before we get into our breakdown of stuff, I took a nap since the Nintendo Direct, and in my sleepy state, I had a dream where I had a reveal. Oh. The real reveal makes no sense when it happened, but it got me thinking, and I did some research, and I'm just sad it hasn't happened yet. But I had a dream where I was watching the Bethesda conference. And Cruisin' USA's theme music kicked in. It was a game for Nintendo 64. It's awesome. I was like, holy shit, it'd be awesome if they remade or made a new Cruisin' USA game. Or Cruisin' series, because all the other ones are different names. But then I was like, what happened to Cruisin' USA, who owns the rights, but it was by Midway, who went bankrupt and owns a whole bunch of IPs, and that went into Warner Brothers, or most of the rights did, and NetherRealm Studios, who makes Mortal Kombat and Injustice.
Oh my god.
So they still have a lot of the rights. They have like Gauntlet, they have NFL Blitz, Cruisin', a whole bunch of series that like are just completely dormant. Like if they had dropped like a new Gauntlet game, for instance, like that would have been so fucking cool.
New Gauntlet Legends, dude.
A Rampage, they just had the Rampage movie, but there's no new game with it. Like that would have been dope.
Yeah, new mobile game with all those things. That'd be so
cool.
Yeah,
like a Rampage mobile game, much like the Commander Keen mobile game that's coming out that everyone's so fond of.
Or the Tom Clancy mobile game that had, you know, Sam Fisher with classic Sam Fisher gameplay of standing behind a rock and shooting at people.
Right.
Yeah, that would be cool. I thought you were gonna say like put Cruisin' USA car in Mortal Kombat or something.
I mean that would be dope.
Which could be the best.
Or a Gauntlet character. I don't remember any like famous Gauntlet characters off the top of my head, but put one of them
Yellow Wizard.
Yeah, in the Mortal Kombat, like it'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
I wish some of the Midway
the Jester.
Some of the Midway game backlog would reappear one day.
Yeah, I haven't seen those in a while. Like Gauntlet Legends, they came out with some games like 5 years ago. It was like Gauntlet 7 Sorrows, and it wasn't that good, but you know, try again. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, that was
But yeah,
what happened in my dream. I was like, oh, that's so great, and then I woke up and I was like, oh, it's not reality.
well, maybe you can pitch it. You can become a game. Uh,
Game pitcher.
what's Ian Grimm,
Yeah,
Rob
Ian Green.
McElhenney's
Be a creative
character?
director.
Yeah, be a creative director and get it going for Midway.
Yeah, I feel like
That'd be
I'd
your
be a.
six pack.
I want to be good at making games or like overseeing a game, but I feel like I could pitch you ideas. I could be a professional
Yeah,
pitch man.
idea guy.
Yeah, I'm the idea guy. If a game company needs ideas for games, I've pitched some to Bethesda before, not officially, but I think I've had some good ideas, like having a
Yeah.
Doom
Okay.
Wolfenstein crossover. Wolfenstein's going co-op, but what if he had BJ co-op with Doom Guy, and they go through hell to find Hitler once he's dead.
Smash.
They
Oh.
find a giant satanic Hitler, and they have to take him down together. Like that'd be fucking dope.
Hmm. I wonder how you become the idea guy. Chop says being the idea guy isn't a good thing. Ugh. What's not good about commanding a bunch of
If
programmers
you
to do
think being
your
an idea guy
bidding?
isn't a good thing, it's because you don't have ideas.
Whoa. You can't just say that. I think it's like that whole idea of like, oh, if I could just say the idea for a game and people make it, that's the best thing. It's like, it's a
Yep.
little more complicated probably, but it probably works exactly like that. Never mind. It works exactly like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we watched all of E3 and we restreamed all of it except for like EA Play, which was right before all the official
Mm-hmm.
conferences started. But we did Microsoft, Bethesda, Devolver, PC Gaming Show, Ubisoft, Square Enix, and the Nintendo Direct.
Yep.
And
We didn't do
we're
EA
gonna
because
talk about them.
really all we cared about there was Star Wars Fallen Order, and the rest of it would have just been mind-numbing to watch. Like
Yeah,
having
well,
this,
they
I mean,
talked about
the Apex
Madden.
stuff was like, all right, I like Apex, so I'm gonna watch it, but it's not something I want to talk about. But yeah, Madden, like we don't personally care about the Sims at all.
Sims 4, Battlefield 5, FIFA 20. Yeah, just like I'm glad they don't have a conference.
And it wasn't
anymore.
really like an actual press conference. It's we're gonna talk about this game for 30 minutes and really give you insight into what's coming up. So it's like 30 minutes of Madden that we don't care. Nobody cares. Not even Madden fans care. They just want the game.
I think you get more out of it too, because the EA Play is a little bit longer form than like a conference, right? So they can talk much longer per game. I could be wrong. I didn't watch EA Play. I just watched like trailers and stuff from it. But yep, there you go. That was EA. I think the biggest thing for me was I wanted to see Fallen Order gameplay, which we saw, and we saw a little bit more stuff like throughout E3. But yeah, overall, my feelings on Fallen Order is that it looks okay, a little underwhelming. The combat looks a little chunky, and
I
I'm
feel
not
like
a fan of all the running through the world. It looks real boring, like running on walls. Whoopty shit. Uh, that's not Star Wars stuff. It's
so.
just Jedi bullshit.
For all the conferences, we gave it a letter grade, and then
Yeah.
I tallied all that up according to using like GPA style ruling and averaged it out. So I'll get to that in a second. But I feel like your sentiment for Fallen Orders is kind of our sentiment overall. For E3, it's just underwhelming. Like there's nothing
I feel like it was
majorly
like
surprising.
average.
It was just like middle of the road. It wasn't a crash and burn dumpster fire, but it didn't wow us. There's a few moments here and there, but overall it was just like, okay.
There were more valleys than peaks.
Yep.
But overall, it was like, it was all right. And then a couple parts, I was like, what the fuck is this? What are you doing? But then the rest of it, I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
Are you gonna reveal our grades right now?
Just on that, yeah, I'll get to it in a second.
Oh, okay.
I want to say it's not even because of rumors or leaks. It's like a lot of the stuff just wasn't leaked. It wasn't like rumored or anybody knew about it. It's like the things they talked about weren't groundbreaking or super crazy. Like some of the stuff for Bethesda, like the Ghostwire and Deathloop. It's like that's really cool stuff, but it wasn't like knock me out of the park, super crazy, or like stuff at Nintendo. At least for us personally, wasn't anything super crazy. They went out and bought a Switch like right after the conference, worthy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can go over our final tallies. So if anyone wasn't watching along with us for the co-streams, also all that stuff's on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch our reactions and thoughts, and we did like 20 minutes of discussion on average after each one. It's all up on YouTube. You can watch it. It's copyright striked to all hell because of all the music in it, but it's up there.
Yeah.
Want to watch it. So just to recap and then go over our totals. For Microsoft, I gave it a B. You gave it an A minus. If we want to, we can get into why we felt this way on stuff. But Bethesda, I gave a C plus. You gave a D minus. Devolver Digital, great press conference. I gave an A minus. You gave a B plus. For the PC Gaming Showcase, I gave a B. You're giving it a B plus, a little bit better than I did.
Yeah, it was a nice.
Ubisoft, we went the opposite way. You gave it an F. I gave it an F plus. Beating you out there.
For Ubisoft.
For Ubisoft,
plus.
Yep. Square Enix, I gave a D minus and you gave a C. And then Nintendo Directs, I gave a D plus and you gave a C. So overall, if you calculate it with GPA ruling, which is a 0 through 4 scale, your total came to a 2.14 or a C average.
That sounds like me.
My total came to a 2.04, which is also a C average.
Wow.
So
very average.
Yours was 0.1% higher. 0.1 higher on the scale.
So I'm an optimist and you're a pessimist.
Out of 4.
That's just what that means.
Yep. So
by a large margin.
A C average, middle of the road, and a flat 2 is a C. So it's just slightly like it would take to a 2.3 to get to a C plus. So just barely above a C.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah. Like I was pretty average on everything except like Microsoft and Ubisoft. Like Microsoft, I felt was very good. Ubisoft, very bad. Everything else just kind of like middling and chilling in the middle of the road. But yeah, to what Emerald Dragon also said, probably a lot of people holding back because new console stuff next year.
Yeah,
or stuff is just still in development and they want to save it.
There's also the whole next gen coming, and a lot of companies holding off on putting that stuff out there. Like that's why Sony isn't there, because they want to save all their stuff for next gen. And the PS5, it's like Microsoft is going to show more Halo and a lot more their big players going into next year. Project Scarlet, unveiling all that. But like even Nintendo, we thought maybe they'd show off the rumored new models of the Switch, which would have been pretty nice. A lot of cloud gaming, a lot of streaming. Game Passes talked about this year, which is to be expected with Stadia making their announcement. Everyone's trying to jump on board that. So
yeah, gaming services for get all these games for $15 or whatever dollars, $10 or $15.
Yeah, I mean this subscription service for like Xbox Game Pass,
yeah,
all that stuff. It's like I get it; it makes complete sense. Like I pay $10 and you get to play Metro Exodus and the entire Halo series and all that stuff. It's like that's fucking dope. I can get it with it. But it's also I'm not gonna have current subscriptions to each one. It's like if I feel like I want to play through some Xbox games 1 month, I'll just go and get that for a month and then cancel my subscription afterwards. If I want to play Trials and whatever other Ubisoft game, it's like I'll go and get their Game Pass for a month and then cancel afterwards.
Yeah, I'm still like iffy on that. Like when it comes to the Xbox One, I'm like, oh, I could play like some of those single player games that I'd probably never play again. I guess that would be the benefit of it because I don't need to own those games. But nah, it's not like exciting for me. I'm just like, okay, I could pay to have like access to even more games that I probably won't touch. Like I'm sitting on my Steam library that's like half unplayed still. It's just like, do I need more? Probably not. I'll just.
I mean, for me,
not for me.
For me personally, if I did like what I did last month, charity wise, of just playing through as many games as possible, then subscription services are amazing for that in the future for me, because it's like I can pay $10 and get access to a huge backlog of games that I can just burn through instead of going out and buying 200 games, which adds up very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think it's good for like just getting it for your kids as well. Too. It's like, well, you don't have anything to do, you just want to play games. All right, here's access to all this crap. Go for it.
I think
It's like, oh,
the sentiment
cool.
of like geared toward kids as well. Everyone's bashing on like Stadia and XCloud and all that stuff, but it's like think about a parent in like 5 years that's like they don't want to buy a gaming PC and they don't feel like going out and buying a console, or maybe they like have one console but it's getting old. It's like, well, I'll just get little Billy Stadia and he can play all these games online for $15 a month. It may be latency, but I don't care. I'm a parent. I don't care about gaming. It's like
Yeah.
that is kind of the market for that as well.
Little Billy wants a brand new AMD Ryzen card.
Yeah. I was just
Custom.
going to recap in case people didn't see it, but your grading wise, your highest was Microsoft with A minus, and mine was Devolver Digital at A minus, and then our lowest unanimously was Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even close.
Yeah.
But
Why? What was it? Do you want to go in order on the conferences, or just kind of jump around and
um,
do stuff? Because I was gonna ask
it doesn't
why
matter.
was Devolver just like such a standout conference for you?
Just
I liked it
because
too.
I mean, Devolver, it's kind of hard because it's like Devolver's not a real press conference. They do show games, but it's mostly for the show and the satire of the whole event. So for me, it's like I don't expect anything out of Devolver. It's like I know they're gonna show up and be absolutely crazy, and it's just like they did that, but then they also showed a bunch of really interesting looking games. Fall Guys, the Death Run game looks fucking awesome. Want to play that?
It looks fun.
Their Devolver bootleg thing that's funny. It's $5. A whole lot of like knockoff games, Hotline
Of their
Milwaukee,
own stuff.
Castlevania, and stuff like that.
Hotline Milwaukee.
My friend Pedro Carry On. It's like everything they showed, I was like pretty much on board for, and it's like to go into it just going for the show and then coming out of it with legitimate games. It's like, how can I not just be on board with that? I know a lot of
Yeah.
people either don't get Devolver style or don't like Devolver style, and that's fine. But it's like, to me, that hits. It's all good. So
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I love the actress who plays Nina.
mhm.
She's just her face and like timing is the best. I don't know. Some people say it's like, oh, this is cringe. This is so cringe. I'm just like,
Yeah,
what? This is like, it's hilarious. What are you talking about? But the only thing, like, I think it was like all positive like games. Like I would enjoy playing, except maybe the Enter the Gungeon arcade cabinet,
I
which
mean, if I
I
saw that
have
in
no use for.
arcade, I would go and try
Yeah.
it because it's like I'm not gonna go out and buy it because it's $5,000. But it's like if we go to a GDQ and they have that in the arcade because they have the arcade there, it's like who's not gonna try that out? It's just like it looks
Yeah.
all right. It's you know.
The light gun game. Yeah,
I,
it's
I think
got Enter the Gungeon, which is a good game.
I may have asked you this during the Devolver, but did you watch the previous year's Devolver digital streams?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Because
barely remember what
I know
happened,
a
but
lot of people kind of like heard that they were jokes and didn't watch them and like watched this year's or something and didn't quite get the storyline. But like each
mhm,
like 2017 was the first year doing a press conference and it had a storyline in it, and then that continued into 2018's, which was last year's, and that set up this year's. So it's like there's actually a legitimate plot line. It's not really super heavy in terms of plot or story, but there is a through line for all of this, and it even says at the end of this one to be continued. So next year we can assume it'll
mhm,
start off with that wherever it may go. But
right.
I think if you just tuned in for this one, you hadn't seen the ones before, you were doing yourself a disservice, and it's like that's kind of the downfall of Devolver as well. It's like you're not getting the full experience if you hadn't already watched their previous conferences.
Yeah, I feel like you can kind of pick up what they're stepping in.
Right.
The Nintendo Switch kind of
But you don't understand like the whole
them was
beginning of
really
like,
funny.
because if you're watching it, it takes a couple minutes to get into that whole Nintendo Direct feel. So it's like, why is she in the chair? Why, all these people talking about her and she's just like motionless.
Mhm.
It's like, well, if you had watched
Yeah,
before,
you could
you would
say the same
instantly
thing about
recognize like,
Marvel.
get on board. I don't know. But yeah.
Mhm.
And I think for Ubisoft, it's like it just wasn't anything appealing for us. Also, these are not based on what we thought of them from a purely objective standpoint. Like they brought all these cool games to show, even if they're not for us. These are just our personal taste. This is what we
Mm-hmm.
thought of them. So it's like Nintendo, we gave low grades because it just wasn't the things that sold us on Switches or Nintendo products at all. It's like I respect what Nintendo showed. They have a lot of cool games, but for me personally, it wasn't Metroid, it wasn't like Star Fox, F-Zero, or things that really sell me on a Switch, new models of a Switch. So it's like I have to give it a low grade because it's not for me.
I think it's mostly like, yeah, it's mostly that thing where it's like so much of that stuff were Switch exclusives. They're either Switch exclusives or existing games that are already out coming to Switch, which is great if you own a Switch, especially
Hmm.
if you only own a Switch. So for those people, it's like really good. But yeah, again, for someone like me or you who's like on the edge of like, should I buy a Switch? Like there are a few games that I do want to play, but need like a little bit more, like sweeten the pot a little bit. And it's they had like Luigi's Mansion, which I don't really care. It was a kind of fun GameCube game. Some people fucking love that shit, but yeah, there's nothing like huge except for maybe the Breath of the Wild sequel, which
Yeah.
was just this is in development, so it'll come out in like 3 years. Um, New characters for Smash,
Yeah.
but I don't like. I would get Smash anyways, but that's not like 1 or 2 new characters is gonna be like the game changer. Oh, Banjo's in it now. It's like I'd play it for 20 minutes, like play some Banjo and be like, okay, that character's in that game.
Right. It's just like also like speaking with Breath of the Wild stuff. That's why I didn't go to a total failing grade of just giving it F because there's still stuff. If I bought a Switch tomorrow, for instance, it's like there's still games I would like to pick up at some point. They're just not games that interest me enough to go in and get a Switch or like I have to play that game to some capacity. So
Yeah. But yeah, when we were watching it, you brought up, oh, no, like different versions of a Switch. And I was like, that's what would get me going. Like if they were like, this is a alternate version discounted or plus an XL version, that would probably get me on board. Be
right.
like, oh, cool. I can just get this, whatever this is, and that's all I need.
Because that's
But
been my standpoint for the Switch for such a long time, especially after buying the Wii U and that going absolutely nowhere, not playing it. It's like I recognize the
mhm,
Switch has a lot better of a library and is a better platform than the Wii U, but I'm still
for
waiting
sure.
for that second generation of Switch consoles to make the jump onto it. And it's like still waiting for that to happen. It's been years. It's like there's been rumors about it. It's like it,
Makes me want to buy a Switch less because if there's rumors about it and they haven't announced it, I've been burned so many times where I'd buy a console, and then like the next version comes out and it's like clearly what I should have gotten. I'm like, God
right.
damn it. I should have just waited like a month or something.
Yeah.
So now I don't want to buy one even more because I'm like, they could announce it any moment. God damn it. But I if we want to jump over to Microsoft, that's the one I thought was just the most enjoyable because there was just so much to unpack. They had
Hmm.
so much to reveal, and I think that's also mostly because Sony wasn't there and EA wasn't there, so I think they kinda, like, sponged up, some
Yeah.
other games. That's
Definitely
kind of
on
the
the EA
feeling I
front,
got.
I'm just like, hey, EA's not really here to show it off, so we'll show it off on our stage and whatnot. I think
Mhm.
I don't know if it was the most enjoyable, but I just think it was the most solid. Like in terms of just having a lineup, like oh, it's maybe that game doesn't interest me, but it's still kind of interesting looking. The Keanu Reeves moment,
Oh my god.
everyone can just say is
Come on.
fantastic. How can you
Ugh.
not love that?
On
Um,
Cyberpunk.
on Cyberpunk,
Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
but you know, the past couple, it's even. I'm trying to think of how to say this. Even the past couple of years, Microsoft they show more and more each year and more first party exclusives and buying up studios and stuff. It's like they just keep putting out good quality stuff. You know, a lot of it isn't my cup of tea, but then there's things like Cyberpunk that they throw out there, and
Yeah, I liked a lot of
Ninja
the stuff
Theory
they showed.
game that I can't think of,
Bleeding Edge.
Bleeding Edge, and it's like that looks interesting. It's 4v4 melee online game. It's like okay, it's kind of I want
Mhm.
to see more on that.
There's for me, it's just like there was so much that I actually am interested in. Like it was a definitive E3 conference. Like I'm just looking at a list right now and like I'm seeing things everywhere there is Cyberpunk 2077, Bleeding Edge, which I'm interested in, a Blair Witch game that
Yeah,
looks
the Blair Witch
interesting
game.
somehow. Outer Worlds, still into that. They showed some of that. Elden Ring, which was the FromSoft George R.R. Martin cross up. Interested in seeing more on that. Phantasy Star Online coming to Xbox One and PC. That got me hyped because that's Phantasy Star
Yeah.
Online is one of my favorite games ever, and Phantasy Star Online 2 looks dope, but it has not been in America.
I finally kind of
Well,
figured
yeah.
out the words of how I want to say it. It's like for Microsoft, the games that didn't interest me, they weren't off-putting at the same time. It's not like I watched
Mhm.
Square Enix and it's like anime game after anime game. It's like, okay, not only am I not
Oh, yeah.
interested in this game, it's like you're actively making me kind of like bored and dread this conference because I'm like, all right, we just had 20 more minutes of anime. Oh, here comes another anime game. It's like
Yeah, that
with
was like Square Enix and Nintendo.
yeah,
Just
it's
so much anime.
with Microsoft. It's like, oh, Battletoads. It doesn't interest me, but it's I'm not disinterested by it. Elden
Mhm.
Ring. It's like I'm not huge on FromSoft games, but it's still a visually cool trailer. It still
Mhm.
reminded
And
me
that
of Lord of the Rings, and like it,
could potentially be pretty cool, maybe.
yeah. So it's like it wasn't. That was like middle of the road or disinteresting. It's just like the things that weren't for me, it didn't drag it down. Much like for me watching Square Enix, it's like the things that didn't interest it really dragged me down. So it's like, okay, just get to Marvel already, and then we can get there and
Yeah.
and cry about it.
Yes. Yes, we will get there.
But yeah,
I also
Blair
wanted
Witch out of the Microsoft press conference for me was the biggest surprise.
Hmm.
Not only just because it is a Blair Witch game in 2019, but just because it looks like a really good horror game. But once again, it's cinematic, so we don't know how it's going to play. But
And you have a dog.
yeah,
Their dog
it
mechanics.
looks like it could possibly be a better version of Outlast, which at this point Outlast needs because Outlast 2 was just off the rails, batshit stupid,
It was real weird.
real weird, and it just kind of ran Outlast into the ground. So it's like if someone can come along and do that same thing but better,
Mhm.
I'm all for it. And if that happens to be Blair Witch, then so be it. And it's also made by the people who made Layers of Fear, which Layers of 2 Fear I wasn't huge on, but they have a lot of interesting mechanics in their games and ways of telling stories. So if like they apply that to Blair Witch, they could get really crazy really quick.
Mhm. Double Fine got picked up by Microsoft. That was announced, and I've been reading into it. There's like apparently a long history of like Double Fine and getting help from people or budget issues. But they're finishing Psychonauts 2, so they had a trailer for that. Psychonauts 1, I don't feel aged well in terms of gameplay, but the writing and story and kind of character of that game is really cool. But
Mm-hmm.
that was another big thing. And you can buy a wireless Series 2 controller, Xbox Elite controller for $180.
Yeah, that's insane.
Tune your triggers to be clickier or something. That's dumb. Like, I'm into that idea, but
Yeah, I
I don't
absolutely
know.
love the
These
controller. I
controllers
love
are
the idea
weird.
of being able to modify it, but $180 for that is so far beyond what I would ever pay for controllers. Like even a keyboard, like
Gaming
that's
chair.
a keyboard's maybe like 130 if you buy like a mechanical keyboard. Like you're not
Mhm.
getting much over that, and you want 180 for a controller? Like absolutely not.
It's
It,
actually insane.
yeah, you can get a keyboard and mouse for like under that price.
Mhm. They announced 12 Minutes, which is a little interesting kind of Stanley Parable type game where it's like multiple ways to play it over and over. It's the same 12 minutes where it's top-down view of this couple in a tiny apartment, and there's some dark secrets going on and terrible things happen. So that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm about
Little
that
game.
game. Groundhog Day trying to stop or figure out what's happening with, I guess the wife or girlfriend and the hitman.
Yeah, the
But
hitman who is just codename 47.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bald guy in suit. I know you don't probably care too much about this, but the Dragon Ball Project Z got announced as Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is a RPG, action RPG where you're Goku. I don't know what that means, especially considering it's just another telling of everything that happens in Dragon Ball Z. I
Yeah,
don't know how many times I'm gonna see that in my life
there's
before I
so many
die.
like Budokai games and
Yeah, you got Fighters.
it's,
Xenoverse came out a
Xenoverse
few
and all
years
that.
ago, and then you got this Shonen Force,
Force
Jump
jump,
Force,
jump force,
Force
force jump,
Jump,
force jump.
Star Wars Force Jump.
Yeah, it's like how many times do you need to go back through
People
the
like
Namek
Dragon Ball.
saga and Cell saga and all this stuff? It's like, all right,
Yeah, like
can you do
they
like an
just
alternate story somehow in these fighting games, to where you get like new
they
characters
did that
or
in Xenoverse. That's like the main storyline of the Xenoverse games.
mm,
It's like alternate timelines, time traveling, you're
but
like time police essentially.
but even just like introducing new characters, I mean, it at this point they're not gonna do it because they have Super and all the movies they put out. But it's like, have something brand new in a game for once instead of just
No,
retreading the exact same water over and over and over again.
if it ain't broke and it's still making money, don't fix it and keep making money. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
But yeah, there's some other games sprinkled throughout the Microsoft conference. Gears 5, don't really care. Battletoads looked real weird and not that great, which was pretty not fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was I like that conference. Some cool stuff. Then we talked about Devolver,
Yep.
Bethesda, the Bethesda conference.
I
I was mixed on it.
After sleeping on it, it's like I don't think it was as bad, but like if I kind of clicked back through it just to view, and it's like, no, it is that bad. Because coming out of it, it's like I think we're gonna go over top 10 games out of E3 later on, but it's like
Yeah.
4 out of my top 10 games are from the Bethesda conferences because I love Bethesda published games, not developed, like Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online and all that stuff. It's like they just hit so heavily on that stuff at the start of the conference. It's like, okay, it's like you don't need a cinematic for online. You don't need a cinematic for your Legends game. You don't need all this stuff for Elder Scrolls 76. And it's like there's so much. It's like I get they have to come out and kind of talk about those things because they're big properties. Elder Scrolls Online does really well for them, so it's like expanding that and talking about it. It's great, but it's like they spend so much time on it. It's like, how much do you to talk about the
It's their
expansions
babies.
here, and then throw the cinematic up online, right? You don't, like for the card game, talk about the expansion for the card game. You don't need to show the
A commercial.
cinematic for it. And it's Fallout 76. It's like nobody wants a BR in Fallout 76. Bethesda fans don't want a BR. BR fans don't want to play Fallout 76. I don't know. I don't know.
But nukes and death claws, dude.
And tons of server stability issues and FPS related issues and just
unlock your frame rate and run faster than everyone.
If anyone's ever played a Fallout or Elder Scrolls game, they are super buggy. That is really well known. And you want to put 52 players in a server, which is way more than they can even like have in a server at the moment without crashing. And you expect everything to run completely fine for a BR?
Yeah, like, it'll be different. They fixed it, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Jesus.
Yeah, all that stuff was weird. I was actually pretty shocked they went so hard on Fallout 76 stuff, like adding human NPCs. Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
People cheering for that was pretty funny. Yeah, they like went real hard. Like, yeah, we're gonna have all this new content, this stuff. We got NPCs or something. And also, here's a whole new mode. And I guess that's the new trend with like a game that's not doing that well. You just make it a BR and see if it sticks.
Well, you put out new content. You make it free to play for a week so people can try that new content just so you can pad your number base. But it's even with Fallout 76, they tried to own up to it, but even that was half-assed. It's like, Yeah, like they
Yeah.
kind of just took some jabs at themselves, and that was it. They didn't apologize for it. They didn't say they're going to try to make that situation better. It's just like, we fucked up. Check out BR mode.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Todd Howard was just kind of like, we haven't done that great, and everyone was like, ha 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 ha, ha. And he was like, Battle Royale.
Yep, pretty much.
It's like, okay, whatever. So yeah, lots of like Elder Scrolls Blades and ESO Online, just like, and no Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6. I know they said that beforehand, but
yeah,
that's always like, those are the things I do want to see. All the other crap they're spending their time and money on, I don't care. I don't care about Fallout 76
yeah.
or
Both those things were, I think, last year were basically confirmed for next gen stuff. So it's like, even before they announced it wasn't going to be at this, it was very unlikely we were going to see like anything on them other than like a strictly 30-second cinematic trailer like we saw for Elder Scrolls 6. Like, oh, here's us flying over and it's the name. It's like, we were probably just going to get that again, if anything, because that stuff's going to be 2021 at the earliest, and beyond that. So it's
yes. But then we got some shooty games. Got some Doom, Rage 2, Wolfenstein, Commander Keen. A revival of Commander Keen announced for smartphones.
Yeah.
And it's nothing, it didn't look anything like Commander Keen gameplay.
No, it's absolutely nothing like Commander Keen gameplay. It's just
a mobile game.
It was funny. Like I said, I've kind of gone back and skimmed over a lot of the conferences just to think about them like the next day. And it's like, she even comes out and says, we're so thankful id trusted us with this franchise to put this out there. It's like, whoever made that call at id to be like, yeah, you can use Commander Keen for a mobile game, that is...
The numbers say it'll make the money and well, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's like...
I don't know. You could probably do that with Commander Keen if you have already done like, oh, here's the new Commander Keen platformer, and that's been out for like a couple of years. Then like the next year after that, they're like, and now there's a mobile game. That'd be like, okay, whatever. But the fact that they just like brought out Commander Keen stuff, and they're like, and it's just a really dumb looking mobile game.
I mean,
It's
even...
like, why even at that point would you do that?
I mean, even then, it's like, you look at Microsoft and Gears. It's like Gears has their Pop Funko, which nobody's excited by, but you know, people play it because it's a mobile game. But they also have Gears 5 coming out at the same time. They're still like, they have games going on. EA did it last year with Command and Conquer. They brought out their mobile game and did the shoutcasting thing. It's like, you're reviving these franchises that are beloved by people and just aiming it towards a completely different market. So it's like, you're getting that name out there just for name recognition and then targeting it to a completely different audience than loves it. And that feels like such a betrayal to just everything that it hurts. Even though I'm not huge on Commander Keen, I'm not a huge Commander Keen fanboy, but it's just like, to see that name brought up and then completely thrown in the dumpster. It's like, why? Why?
I think it's just because it's obviously, if it's a mobile game, it's not going to be like the original game. So when you bring it back and there's no already established revived game that's at least somewhat close to the original game, then yeah, people are going to be pissed, because it's like you're just bringing out a corpse and just like hanging it up and be like, don't you enjoy the corpse here? It's like, it's dead. Why isn't it moving?
Yeah, it's like with Fallout 70, with Fallout and then Fallout Shelter, it's like, you already have Fallout. It's still in production. You had Fallout 4 coming out at the same time. It's like, okay, you can have Fallout Shelter. It's kind of like a teaser to get into Fallout 4 and beyond. And now you have Elder Scrolls Blades, but you also have like online, and you have Elder Scrolls 6 coming. So it's like, no one really cares for Blades. Some people do.
I played it for like 2 seconds and I was like, this is awful.
But it's like,
it's boring.
It's not like they had stopped after Oblivion and now they're bringing up Elder Scrolls Blades. Like, hey, look at this game. It's now on mobile. Go play it. Like, it's still an active franchise. So yeah. But we got new IPs, which I was excited for. Ghostwire out of Tango Works, which is Evil Within Studio, and Deathloop out of Arcane, which is awesome to see new properties.
Just cinematics.
Yep, just cinematics, so it's hard to get on board, but it got me interested in the worlds. They set up
especially
interesting,
Ghostwire.
interesting premises with like Deathloop. Like, oh, I wonder how the Groundhog's type situation plays in that. I want to know more. So it's like still to come, but at
Reminds
least
me of
that
that
part
Tom
was
Cruise
interesting.
movie.
I think like skipping like halfway into that press conference, like cutting out the first half. It's like in my memory, I'm physically blocking out that first half of the press conference and just focusing on like everything at the end. It's like Doom Eternal,
Yeah, it's like a
Wolfenstein.
totally different thing. It's pretty weird. Yeah, I'm super interested in Ghostwire Tokyo. Just that the way they kind of show how the monsters kind of like hide in the darkness and what happened to the people, and it's gonna be like a horror game. That's pretty much what they said. It's not. I'm sure it'll be like open world. You're kind of exploring and hitting like things on a map. That's kind of what it
Right.
seems like. But
I mean, that's kind
it
of the
seems
way
like there's more to it.
that's the way Evil Within 2 kind of developed. Like Evil Within 1 was uh, very linear in terms of stories. Like you go through the world in a specific order. 2 was that way, but it was a much more, at least like the first level was really open. You could kind of go in and explore like side areas and shortcuts and then really find different ways to get through this like suburb. So it's like if they expand upon that and just make it slightly bigger levels or even just one big level, maybe not even just purely open world, but it's like a decently large area like that. And the same vein, it's like that sounds cool.
So, Emerald Dragon chat says, admit that Fallout 76 is bad, but at least they aren't dropping it like EA dropped Anthem. I think BTU said that actually during the thing. It was like, well, like it was after the Battle Royale was announced. We're like, at least they're trying something.
Yes, but it's also that
Anthem.
Fallout 76 has a player base, surprisingly. Bethesda just has huge fanboys, which you heard in the crowd. And it's like they're continuing that because they still have a player base that they can get money out of. And that's why Anthem is, they still have somewhat of a player base, but it's not on the same level. And Anthem is also just from a standpoint is it's a much worse off game. There's just like less, like Fallout 76 had a bad launch, but there's still a base of like they can expand upon it. Anthem's like they're spending time like months doing just pure bug fixes and base level mechanics. So it's like they can't really expand upon stuff because if they expand upon it, it's just gonna collapse in on itself. So it's like I can respect that they're keeping up with it, but it's also it makes sense because it makes them money and there's still a player base there.
Right. So yeah, Ghostwire and Deathloop both look pretty cool, just in concept. So super down to see whatever is going on with those. And Doom Eternal gameplay.
Yep.
More of that was showed off. What did you think of that, Mr. Doom guy?
I loved it. The UI was the biggest thing I took away. It's like that needs to change. If that doesn't change before launch, I'm gonna be really disappointed. That is just
weird retro looking stuff they're going for.
I mean, like
that's what I felt.
Like the on-screen UI of like the indicators for health and stuff. It's like the green was too bright and it's like just too much in your face. Like, I want to focus on killing the demons because that's what you told me to do. That I'm a badass demon slayer and I got to stop everything. So let me focus on that and instead of the stuff in my face. But they showed off an arena fight. And then they also showed off mechanics on their own of like getting through the world and traversing it. And it's like coming out of Doom 2016, the biggest kind of criticism was that it was just arena fight after arena fight after arena fight. So it's showing off the movement mechanics and getting around the world in kind of a different way and throwing some puzzle elements in there. That's cool, but I wish they had shown going from one arena fight to getting to the next one instead of just doing an arena fight and then cutting away and then going to that, like, here's some new mechanics for getting around and then cutting away and then going to like another fight. It's like, I kind of want to see the level when you're not fighting, because everyone loves the fighting. There's more demons, more guns, all that stuff's great. I love it. I love seeing it. But to kind of pad the criticism from 2016. Like, if it's just arena fight after arena fight, at the end of the game, you're gonna be like, I love this game, but it's kind of wearing down. So it's like,
Hmm.
hopefully it's mixed in there really well and it works out. I trust id, so we'll see. But yeah, it comes
Well, id
out
trusts
November.
id trusts people as well to make Commander Keen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked really sick. Again, all the movement options like the grappling hook and like your dashes are real neat. I like how
Hmm.
the weapons that you pick up just like bob and go in circles like on the floor. That looks
Yeah.
real old school. I guess they got that from Quake. That's what I heard from some people.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it's
Quake.
like kind of the aesthetic of it. Like Doom had the launch pads and stuff at certain levels, but it's like that was more of a Quake Champions thing, and like the gun spinning and stuff that was aesthetically kind of from Quake Champions. Um,
Hmm.
so they probably just borrowed the assets, but I mean, it's still having guns in the level you can pick up, and like the health packs and stuff is very Doom as well, like old school Doom. So
Yeah, I
it's a
like
little
that.
both.
They showed some of the multiplayer that they talked about before, which is going to be one versus two, one Doomslayer versus two demon like generals, I guess, essentially, where
Yeah,
the two people play as an enemy, a Doom enemy, but they can also control where a bunch of other enemies spawn, and they kind of honed in on this term, skill versus strategy,
yep.
which I thought was
Doomslayer skill
interesting.
versus demon strategy. So it's like last year they had mentioned they were doing multiplayer for this game, but they didn't say anything on it. They didn't show anything at QuakeCon, and we knew it was developed in house instead of being outsourced this time around. So I was really looking forward to what they're gonna do. I thought there was just gonna be another like classic deathmatch style, but
Deathmatch,
in
something.
house I was like that would be cool, instead of being outsourced and basically like becoming Halo. But this is a
Hmm.
very odd take, and it's I hope it works out because it looks interesting, but I fear it's going to go like the Doom 2016 multiplayer where people try it out for like a week and then it's completely dead.
Yeah.
I don't know how much innovation there is and like how much meta you can change in gameplay, how many demons there are, why a Doom Slayer that's just really good isn't going to win all the time,
That's my main concern. It's just like you can be
balancing
as
and stuff.
strategic as you want, but if that Doom Slayer is like just real fucking good, it won't matter like where you trap him or put demons. Like if you could just annihilate everything real fast.
Yeah, it'll be
I like the
interesting to see
idea,
more
but
for sure.
yeah, the idea is cool. We'll see about execution.
They
When does
didn't
that come out as well?
It comes out in November, but they showed off at QuakeCon last year of having the invasions where people can jump into your world and control demons that way. I wonder if they completely took that out and put that into the multiplayer aspect, because that was kind of the same thing for the story, uh, like invasion stuff. It's like people would come in and take over demons in your world during your campaign and uh, basically fight against you. So it's like if they have that as a multiplayer mode on its own, would they also keep that in the single player with invasions? It feels like
Oh
they
yeah,
didn't talk about that at all, but I think I would guess they took that out of that mode and it's like, all right, we're not gonna do invasions. We're gonna let you enjoy the story on your own, but we're gonna make it into uh,
yeah. I
its own
totally forgot
multiplayer
about
mode.
that. I mean, maybe it still is, but they totally didn't mention it. So yeah, maybe they just moved it into its own thing.
Yeah, it's
Because
exactly the same thing. It's two demons versus a guy. So we'll see.
yeah, asymmetric multiplayer is weird. Lifelike brought up Dead by Daylight. That is pretty successful. It's probably the best asymmetric
Yeah, I mean
game out
we've
there.
had stuff like Evolve, Dead by
Evolve.
Daylight. Friday the 13th was successful, but then because of lawsuits, it pretty much had to stop development and just fell apart. And then,
Left 4 Dead Left 4 Dead wasn't asymmetric exactly, but it was like different classes versus different classes. If you want to call them classes, because it was still 4v4, but there were also the common infected. So I guess it was technically pretty asymmetric. Because that's actually the first thing I thought of when I heard about this multiplayer mode. I was like, oh, so it's like Left 4 Dead's AI director, but two people are the AI directors as well as a special infected. Then there's just like one crazy guy, one shooter. Which
yeah,
why would you ever not want to play as that shooter? So I guess some people would enjoy that strategery.
I don't put Left 4 Dead up there with asymmetric multiplayer because a lot of it is just the co-op campaigns. Like, yes, there is the the PvP stuff where you can
I
play
played
against
a
each
lot
other.
of versus back in the
A
day.
lot of verses and stuff, but it's like a lot of people just play it for the co-op campaign, and I think that
Yeah.
foremost is what Left 4 Dead is. It's like it has that mode, but I want it. It's not successful because of the versus mode. Like when you talk about Left 4 Dead, people are talking about you taking on AI zombies in campaign mode for the most part.
Yeah. I still think it is probably closer to Left 4 Dead than anything. Like if you, for example, the boomer vomits on survivors that spawns AI. That mechanic is probably the closest to what Doom is doing. It's like, oh no, you just probably plop. Like,
Mm.
oh, tell these zombies to spawn here and then do your abilities over here. But yeah, won't go too long on it. But
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing it. It does sound pretty cool.
Now we already talked about Devolver, so we'll skip over that and to the PC Gaming Showcase, which is just a collection of primarily indie games being shown off, getting their time of day, which is dope. Some pretty cool announcements out of that. For me, the biggest surprise was probably Chivalry 2, which
Chivalry 2
has had some. Chivalry 1 or Medieval Warfare had some drama near the end of its life, which
did it?
yeah, with some people behind the scenes, some really weird stuff. If you want to go read up about it, so it's like that was never really settled. So depending on how this game comes out and how it plays gameplay wise, we may finally see that drama, like the conclusion to it. Who was kind of right in that? Like, so I'm not gonna get into this. If you want to go check it out, read about it.
Okay.
But if it can come close to the gameplay and it's you have whatever the new Chivalry is out, Mordhau, whatever it's called.
Mordhau.
It's going to be interesting to see how Chivalry 2 stacks up against that, because that's kind of just taken its place. We also have For Honor out there, and it's like, can it reclaim what it once had? But yeah,
The melee FPS.
I look forward to it. Maneater game was the thing I looked forward to the most, and we saw gameplay, got a trailer. It looks fantastic. Can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I hope we were talking about it during our co-stream, but I really hope they go like super ridiculous on like the upgrades for your shark. Like you can jump higher or do like go faster. I hope you can just jump straight up and like grab like a biplane and just like do that or some crazy shit. But yeah, that game looks funny.
I hope like it doesn't stay too crazy at the end, but it's like having like an hour maybe of just like batshit insane where you can just like get the size of like Jaws and take down giant boats and ocean liners and like jump out and grab like a biplane and stuff like that near the end would be awesome. But I don't want to play like 5 hours of that. I think that'd be a bit much. I think for that game, it's like having constant evolution is going to be key. So that as much fun as that game sounds, it's like if you're just swimming around eating stuff at the same size with the same mechanics, it's going to get old sort of quickly. So if you can keep evolving and keep growing, that will be the key for that game being really, really fun.
I wonder what they're gonna do with it. Can't just be like endless gameplay. I wonder if they're gonna be like, oh, at some point, like police boats are gonna start coming out and like fighting you and stuff like that. There'll be like a survival mode thing, but they didn't really say or go into anything like that.
I mean, they showed off like
looks fun,
the villain, and it is an RPG, so it's like you'll probably take him down at the end, and it maybe just sail away. But yeah, they could have like maybe he gets can't even think of what it is.
The what?
The Coast Guard. I was thinking Coast Guard. Like have the Coast Guard come out and try to take you down. But
the Navy.
A bigger shark.
There's always a bigger fish. They showed more gameplay, I guess, of Shenmue 3. It didn't seem like, well, I guess it looked like gameplay, but it was like not as much as I was hoping to see. They kind of showed just some fighting in QTE scenes without the QTEs popping up on the screen, which they will. But I was hoping to see more just like of the people in the city and like Rio talking to people about stuff. Maybe some forklifts, but they didn't show that much.
Yeah.
Still trying to stay optimistic about that because I am gonna play it.
Also, just saying it's gonna come out when it's ready. Not giving release date, which is,
yeah.
People waited this long for it. You can wait a little a little longer, I guess.
That's fine. They talked more about Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which was an old source game about vampires. So that's it's coming out. They had a bunch of gameplay.
Yeah,
What
it's
else
like
we got?
I'm trying to find the list of stuff again, but it's because there's just so much from there. But they
Here,
have the
can
sequel
send you
to
one.
not the sequel, but the successor to Her Story, with Logan Marshall Green in it. Like I'm totally on board for that. I want to. I think I said during the conference, but I was gonna play Her Story last month during my charity stuff because it's a super short game and it just looks mechanically interesting. So it's like if this comes out and
Hmm.
it's bigger and better and it has Logan Marshall Green, who I think's a great actor in it,
Yeah,
like
that stuff
that,
looks
it's
really
got me on
cool.
and got me on board. I thought it was a cool drop.
Valfaris is a cool little game that's like PS1 ish graphics, PS1, PS2. And it's like kind of in the style of old Contra games or something like that. I thought that looked super dope because I played hella Contra and like Metal Slug
Yeah, it
when
also
I was really
almost
young.
looked like a Metroid style game to me.
Yeah, it did. It had that like feel to the environment. So I'm down with that. They didn't show too much on it, and there wasn't even a date for it. A lot of like little games where I was like, oh, that's like pretty cool.
Yeah.
Starmancer El Hijo Planet Zoo, which showed no mauling of visitors, which is very disappointing. They can't let the bears loose or lions loose. That would make it really cool. Ancestors, Monkey Simulator. It's the best game ever.
I I need to see gameplay.
They showed gameplay. You were eating an apple. You climbed on a tree.
I need to see
He
objective.
punched a rhino
They
or
showed
something.
clips of what you can do, but they didn't
Clips of
show.
gameplay. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean that game comes out when August, like in 2 months or something. Um,
yeah. I think
it's
July
I
maybe.
still don't know what that game is.
I think that there's gonna be some weird like meta thing where it's like, oh, you're actually in a controlled environment. Now you break out and you're a monkey with a gun.
I mean even that, it's
That
like
that's my hopeful.
even if there's a twist or something, it's like I still want to see mechanically like, how you move around the world, and is it like an open world type of game? But yeah,
Yeah. Their tagline was I forget what it was, but it was along the lines of like you recreate history or something, or you choose civilization or evolution. I was like, hmm, weird. I wonder what that's all about.
the kind of pitch it is you slowly evolve over time, and like you go through the different
Yeah.
ages of the beginning of
Yeah,
the
that's
world
why
and our ancestors. But
yeah, they very clearly left something out. Oh yeah, also the PC Game Show sponsored by Epic Game Store. Shenmue 3 is an Epic Games exclusive for
seeing a lot of stuff
well,
become Epic
Game
exclusives
Pass.
at that wasn't too surprising. But
Yeah.
every time it was mentioned, barely any applause or forced applause. Like they didn't want to just
Yeah.
leave the person hanging. But it's
Yeah.
I personally don't have an issue. Like I think it's kind of shitty that they do it, but it's like if a game I want's going to Epic, it's like yeah, it's shitty, but I don't at the end of the day really care that much. Like
Yeah, I mean I'll log in and play it if I want to play a game there. I know there's like security concerns in the past. Um I'm just a dumbass and I'll log in anyways because my information's probably compromised on like 20 different websites in my life
yeah.
just because people suck. So I don't know. People hate it. I'm indifferent on it,
Yeah, I
but
mean, Borderlands 3 is an Epic exclusive. I'm not wrong
maybe
on
I'm
that. Like,
maybe I'm part of the problem.
there's tons of games that are Epic exclusives and are still selling super well. Like, it's not being a detriment to
Mhm.
those games at all. So it's like clearly people are still going to Epic to buy them because they want to play those games. So it's like
Yeah.
the outcry is, it's like, eh.
Me. Going back to stuff that is not asymmetric gameplay, but versus gameplay that's based on classes. Vermintide 2 got a versus announcement, which made me want to go and play Vermintide 2 because I never played those games, but they always look pretty fun.
Yeah,
So,
and there's also the Midnight Ghost Hunt, which is the prop hunt.
Oh
game with the
yeah,
ghost, which
official prop hunt game.
it's one of those games I would hold off on buying it for like a month because I imagine it's going to come out, streamers and people are going to play it
Horribly imbalanced.
for about a week, and then it's going to be radio silent, and then no one's going to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's another game where it's like not asymmetric, but it's both sides are totally different classes. Like the ghosts jump into like a knight armor thing and they can fight or something. It's a ghost busting prop hunt game. Could be cool.
Yeah, it's just like no prop hunt game has really done it right and has stayed in place other than like Gary's Mod Prop Hunt, which is kind of, the original or the originator. It's like,
I don't I don't even like prop hunt, but I know people do. Maybe this game will change my mind. I don't know. Probably not, but we'll see. There's
yeah.
that Remnant game that we saw that's like co-op shooty big bosses stuff.
Yeah, the like 3-player drop in, drop out sort of, I think, game. I just took a screenshot of it, but yeah, there's a lot of like 3-player co-op games being kind of teased. No, not really any gameplay, but a lot of like cinematics and stuff for it. It's like, I guess maybe that's kind of the way we're going, where it's
across all E3 too.
Yeah.
But there was like a lot of that. A lot of co-op shooty things.
Yeah.
Like Avengers. And we'll get to that.
We'll get to Avengers.
I guess.
Uh,
but yeah, no, I don't really see anything else worth super mentioning.
Yeah, I think just with the PC
Noir
Gaming
game, maybe.
Showcase, it's just you get some things you like, some things you're not interested in, and it just has a little bit for everybody. Whether you want like a AAA game like Borderlands 3, they gave some updates on, or Terraria, or you want an anime RPG game, like I think it was Christ Tales.
Oh yeah, that one.
I like the style. I just don't like RPG, so it's not for me. But I'm sure you got something out of that.
Auto Chess, Zombie Army 4.
Yeah,
something.
Auto Chess thing was interesting to see, especially going to Epic Game Store as an exclusive because it is a mod for Dota 2, which is a Valve property. So,
But yeah, I enjoyed the PC gaming show. Like, there's again nothing like super crazy, but the average was like slightly higher, and I was like, I'm enjoying these trailers and reveals, and the devs talking about it and caring, and it just feels more casual. It's a good time.
And then we can go on into Ubisoft, which we both gave failing grades. You gave an F, I gave an F plus. It's just there wasn't for us anything in that conference. Like, I think we both kind of agree. Like, Watch Dogs Legion, it's a cool concept. Skeptical on if they can really do. You can have anybody in your party. You can, like, there has. How are you going to do voice acting for it if you can play as literally anybody that you see? Can you become an 8-year-old kid you see on the street? Like, are they going to let child soldiers be a thing? Is there any babies?
There's no kids in the city.
There's a baby in a stroller. Or I get to play as that baby now and be a hacker.
Yeah. Watch Dogs Legion, like, even though I did not enjoy anything in this conference, really, Watch Dogs Legion, I was actually kind of excited for the concept of it, but I am not a believer in them doing it because they're saying that your entire squad, every person that you hire, is going to have a character mission, like a intro mission, fully voice acted and fleshed out, and they'll have their own like perks, which isn't like crazy. Like, you can just put perks on people, and there will be probably archetypes, and they probably will pull a pool from, like, I guess they'll have like somewhat automated like voice lines and personalities, which would be real weird because that's the only way they could do it. They won't be able to voice act a city.
Yeah.
So they'll probably have some system in place where it's like, oh, this person's personality is automatically made. I don't know. I would like to see more on it because like the idea of your squad having permadeath is like it's like an indie concept in a AAA game, and that's really cool.
I'm totally on board with that. So yeah, just pulling it off. I don't know if they have done this or planning on doing it or if they will do it, but it's like show us an hour of playing the game where you solely are recruiting more and more people. Just like show me an hour of you sitting down playing the game with the dev where it's just we're constantly unlocking new people and random people that you see on the street, and it's just like,
hmm
um,
I'm wondering at what point you're gonna start hearing the same voice lines, kind of like what Suicide Machine's saying in chat. Like, at what point are you gonna see the patterns? It's like, oh, this
right.
person is like they're saying these things. I've heard this before.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not that they can't make it so you can play as every character, unlock every character. It's like, if they're saying like each one's unique, that's where the disbelief's coming from. It's like, you can't have every single character be completely unique voice acting and dialogue lines and dialogue trees. It's like, they can make them everyone playable, but at some point there's going to be repetition and pattern, and it's like, it seems like
Yeah,
they're trying to sell that it's unique, and it seems like there has to be a repetition or a pattern somewhere, and it's like,
yeah.
that's
Like one of
that's
the
where I'm
I was
getting lost.
I was gonna say, like, one of the perks was, like, when it showed the grandma, it said, like, limited mobility or something like that, and that just seems like a perk or a
Uh,
trait you'd put on just, like, a random person that make them, like, hobble or something like that.
Right.
But, yeah,
Oh.
I'm interested in that. That's, like, the only thing I was like, "I wanna see more of that." They showed a lot of gameplay or something that looked close to gameplay, which was pretty crazy how much they showed,
Mm-hmm.
for that one, but, everything else in this conference, I was like, Rainbow Six, whatever, Ghost Recon, whatever.
A lot of kind
Tom
of
Clancy's.
updates for stuff already in existence. Just Dance got another iteration. We got more Rainbow Six characters, operators, I guess. We got a spin-off of Rainbow Six, The Quarantine, which cool
Is
that Rainbow Six is
co-op
still
shooting.
going, but it's not stuff for us. Division 2, which has been out, gets more content, not for us once again. For Honor got their special event, once again, not really
It's a
for us.
limited time event,
Yep.
apparently.
Brawlhalla
Um,
got an update, once again, it's been out. They get Adventure Time, cool,
yeah,
not
I
for
I
us.
played I played platform fighters. I don't even care about Brawlhalla.
Hmm.
That's how not exciting that was.
There's the mobile game with Splinter Cell. Um,
It was a mobile game with like a character from each franchise of
right.
theirs, and then Sam Fisher's just there, and that's just like a giant middle finger to Splinter Cell fans. It's just like you're not announcing anything. No,
Yeah, it's like the
that was no
biggest
fun.
thing out of the conference for me. It's like Gods and Monsters looks like an interesting game. Some more information's come out where it's basically like a Zelda style
Breath
game,
of the Wild.
um,
Yeah.
which I wish they'd kind of shown more of that side instead of just talking about it afterwards. So that looks
Um.
cool. But the biggest
Yeah.
thing for me was Rob McElhenney's new show,
Oh yeah, that's
Mythic
right.
Quest. It's like, even that, it's like
Raven's Banquet.
I want more of like an actual trailer instead of just like showing off the trailer they did.
Yeah,
It,
it's pretty short.
it was funny, but it's like, I want to see clips from the show and how it's going to work, because it seems like it's going to be like The Office, but for game development. It's just,
Hmm
how's it going to work? And it's also hard for me to see him as anything other than Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because I've watched him play that role for so many years. It's like,
Yeah, true.
if I see Charlie Day and something else, I'm just like, that's Charlie. That's Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I can't see him as anything else. So it's like,
Mhm.
I hope it's good. It's also for Apple TV, which no one has Apple TV really. So
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, "You mean Pirate Bay TV?" uh, I mean, what? What happened?
mm,
Yeah, it's pretty sad that out of this entire conference, the most interesting things that happened were a TV show, a Watch Dogs sequel, and
a dog.
Dog, who is one of the best presenters,
And
and Gods and Monsters that was not talked about afterwards and was awkwardly cut off by a Twitch Rivals thing that no one cared about.
I feel bad for John Bernthal, who came out, because he's great. I love him as the Punisher and even as Shane in
Oh
The
yeah,
Walking
he's
Dead.
awesome.
But it's like, you have the day before, you have Keanu Reeves come out completely unannounced and just steal up E3, and then you have the dog steal your spotlight, which is your choice to bring out the dog. But it's like, everyone remembers Bam
Cute
Bam
dog.
being on stage. Nobody remembers John Bernthal being there with them
Aw.
talking about Ghost Recon. It's like, it's cool to see him on stage. Yeah, he's a great actor. Love that he's getting some video game roles, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
he got completely upstaged to the point where it's like no one's gonna remember that he was at E3. It's like, oh, there's a dog and Keanu Reeves and the woman from Ghost Recon, which I can't remember her name, or not Ghost Recon,
Ghostwire.
Ghostwire. Too many Ghost games.
Ghosty Ghosts is. What if Keanu Reeves came out with the dog? That dog.
It
Oh my
it
god.
looked like his dog from John Wick.
Yeah, it looked exactly like that. Akumi Nakamura.
There you go.
That's the girl. But yeah, that was a conference.
Mm-hmm. So it's like if you like
Sucked.
those franchises, you got more of them, which is great.
I mean, yeah.
It's
No
awesome that
Assassin's Creed.
Rainbow Six Siege is still alive and kicking to the point where it's getting a spinoff. But yeah, it's just it is what it is.
Yeah, maybe they're saving some stuff. Who knows?
Yep.
For next year. But Square Enix was next. 9 o'clock at night, very late for Europeans as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm gonna keep mine. Well, we'll talk about Avengers in a second, but overall, it's like there's nothing for me other than Avengers at the end, which was a complete disappointment with the way they are announced. But I can respect people who like Square Enix and that style of game. It's like this was just like a bombshell. Like, oh my god, there's so many Final Fantasy updates and anime stuff, Dragon Quest things. It's like it's cool. It's just once again, it personally didn't do anything. So it's like
it seemed like quality content for that crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just talk about Avengers? We can do Final Fantasy VII afterwards.
You go with Final Fantasy
Okay.
7 because I'm going to go on a rant.
Well, Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's looking real good. They showed a lot of gameplay. They showed like a fight, which was the really long boss fight in the first reactor in Midgar. The combat, I was worried that it was just going to be like an actiony kind of RPG that was just slashy stuff, but they introduced the more slashy stuff you do, the more normal attacks you do, that's how your ATB bar goes up, and that's how you do abilities. That's how you use items, and you eventually get a limit break. So that development I thought was really cool. And when you get your ATBR up, it actually pauses the game, and it like does this cool like slow motion kind of effect on everything, and it gives you time to pick. Or you could turn that off and have a completely real time kind of combat, which I love that option. So my worries about the combat were kind of curbed. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Even though attacking can look like it might get repetitive and boring after a while,
Yeah,
I do like that.
I said during our thing last night, it's like this could possibly be the jumping on point where I finally play Final Fantasy VII and just a Final Fantasy in general. But it's like I have to see an extended look at that combat because if there's a lot more advanced mechanics that you can do, summons, or you're talking about the materia system and all that. It's like if there's a lot more of that and it gets interesting and there's more dynamics, like sure, I'll jump on board. But if it's like you're slashing away doing all these normal attacks to get like a slightly better normal attack, it's like that to me. It's like even that fight seemed like it went on forever, and it was a lot of just basic slashes, like where it got to the point of like even this fight itself seems like it would get tedious because they kind of I don't know if they did, but it seemed like they'd kind of cut out small parts to even speed it up a bit. So it seemed like the actual fight itself would be longer. And it's like
I kind of felt that was the actual length, but I have no idea because that felt like the right length for a boss fight.
Right.
It was way longer than an FF7 boss fight. The original fight was way shorter, but they want to be cinematic or whatever. But yeah, I feel that at what point is the normal attacking just going to feel like you're not doing anything?
Right. It's just
that's a big worry.
Waiting until you can do a much better attack. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, it's to make it look like there's always something happening. As far as the materia stuff goes, they didn't show a lot of that. They showed some spells getting cast, like lightning and fire, but I love how you can physically see the materia slots in the weapons. In FF7, every character you like upgrade your weapons. It's not always like the normal Cloud Buster sword. Like he'll actually be holding like some other sword, and each weapon and piece of armor has different types of materia slots and more slots for materia. You can like combo materia together. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be like straight up the same materia system. Like for example, you haven't played FF7, but
Yeah.
there's a materia called all materia. And if that is linked up to like a fire materia, then when you cast it, it casts fire on everything.
Okay.
So it's like stuff like that. And you can like combo things together. And it's pretty easy to break. So I'm sure they'll fix some jank ass combos. And I'm interested in seeing that. And they showed Tifa, who is just gorgeous. She's bae. Oh my god. Tifa's the best. She's the best. She looks awesome. It'll be on 2 Blu-rays, which is crazy.
Well,
And
they said it would be two Blu-rays worth of content, which I think comes out to about 50 gigs, unless they're like double-sided, which would then be 100 gigs. I don't think it's physically coming out on. Well, I guess if they do a physical edition, it would be 2. But
yeah, you probably just install it as well.
yeah, most games like you would put the game in and it's like 1 gig, and then you download 49 gigs for it. But I mean, 50 gigs seems about a normal length. But if it's going to be like Final Fantasy long, RPG levels of long, like 50 gigs seems kind of on the short side.
Seems tame. Seems pretty low. So that's interesting. I wonder how long the game will be, because it's only going to be Midgar. And Midgar, so the original game is 3 discs. Midgar is not even the whole first disc. It's like a majority of the first disc. So I'm just curious to see how much extra they're putting in there, or how much longer boss battles, I guess, will be, or cinematics, because they have dialogue now. You can't just like read and mash through text. It's just going to be longer. So, um,
Right.
yeah, it looks fucking awesome, but it's still like, still wondering how it's going to like feel to play that. And you already know the story, like how much is going to be different. A lot of people don't know the story too, which I guess is another cool thing about it.
Yeah,
But
it is like,
yeah.
at least in my own mindset of how to kind of correlate things, it's very much like RE2 going into that. It's like a lot of people knew the story. It's like, I've never played RE2. So it's like, this is the jumping on point for me. And that it's like,
Yeah, same for me actually.
I don't know how closely it follows the main story. I think there's a like small differences here and there, but for the most part, you know the big things in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, still cool. You get some slight differences where it's not a 1-to-1 recreation, but for the most part, it still follows the same arc, so it feels like the same story.
Follows the same story beats, but it's totally different. Well, almost totally different gameplay wise. And I'm wondering, the FF7 story is kind of like convoluted and dumb at some points, so I'm betting they're going to be kind of
An RPG story being convoluted and dumb,
right? It's weird.
Mm.
They'll probably kind of make it a little easier or less dumb, easier to understand or less dumb.
Yeah, and then there's also the FF8
Oh, yeah.
remaster.
There was a lot of rumors in the past that they lost the FF8 source code, and that's why they haven't done anything with it, because it's like the last PlayStation Final Fantasy to not get any remasters or ports. Like they just they're like, we can't do anything, and then they come out and they're like, okay, all the character models are better now, and I don't know what else they did. Like the text looks better, the character models are looking good, but everything else looked the same, and they just showed the same cinematics. So I'm wondering what all is different.
I saw some
But I love
people
FF8,
post
so.
about like, oh, I guess they went into more detail of like how it was different. Like, oh, maybe the FF8 remaster is more different than I thought, but I didn't click on it and read it because to me, I just don't care about FF8. So it's like, maybe there's more in there that they didn't quite show, but who knows? There's also the Life is Strange 2 trailer. Just I just want to point out, because I hate that trailer with every fiber of my being.
Oh my
Jesus
god.
Christ, that was so bad.
What was bad about it?
Let's
I wasn't
have
even
this
paying
trailer
attention.
for a game that's already out, but let's have huge streamers and YouTubers thrown in there to react about the
Oh,
story.
I remember. I hate that too now.
Instead of actually showing the story and the game, let's just show like Jacksepticeye and whoever the fuck else was in there.
Everything that happened, there was 3 streamers reacting to it. It's just like, oh, please tell me how to feel. This is great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I should be feeling emotions now.
It's just like that had stuck out. And it went on for way too long. It's like, okay, you're gonna do this, but you're just gonna double down and triple down. It's like, okay, just fuck off.
Yeah,
Just
that
wanted to
trailer
point that
was
out.
like, it was strictly like a boardroom saying, "People like Twitch streamers. With this trailer, let's put Twitch streamers in there, and people will like it."
Yeah,
And maybe they did.
EA's done that in the past with things before,
This Sea of Thieves, I think,
like
or
Battlefield.
yeah,
They
something
kind of did stuff like
that.
that. And it's like, yeah,
I'd rather just not see that ever.
don't put that in a trailer. Just
Yeah,
trying to look through this. Is there anything
keep it to
else
the game.
you want to bring up other than Marvel's Avengers?
Fucking long ass Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers trailer. Holy fuck, that was the longest just don't care about it trailer I've ever seen. That Builders game, Dragon Quest, actually looks like if I had a kid, I'd get it for him. It
The
looks
Dragon
like
Quest
pretty,
Minecraft?
yeah, pretty fun little Minecraft game that looks like Dragon Ball.
Mm.
Whatever. That Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC trailer was fucking garbage. It's just like no voice, no sound effects, and just like fighting with some anime people.
Yep.
And that was it. I was like, okay, that exists in the world. But yeah, no, nothing else other than that.
Where to start with Marvel's Avengers? The game we've been hearing about for 2 years now. It's been rumored and talked about. And it finally came out, and at least personally, I feel like was the biggest disappointment and letdown of E3 completely, because it just the way they talked about it without showing a lick of gameplay. You could make the argument that some of the stuff shown in one of the first trailers was gameplay, but it was probably just more an engine footage rather than actual gameplay. And the way they talked about it, it seems like that wouldn't be the gameplay anyways. But the character design looks like knockoffs, and not just because they're not Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, but because they try to make it so close that you think it's them, but then they don't have the rights, so they can't use their face and their likeness.
This is probably really expensive.
Yeah, that too. It's like lots of money. It's like, if you're not going to make it people from the Avengers movie, which is completely fine, don't have a problem with that, just make the design closer to comics, make it closer to the cartoons, which things
Ultimate
like Marvel Ultimate Alliance does, and it looks completely fine. Didn't have an issue with that. It's just like, you can't have it both ways. You can't make it look like the movie characters, but also not at the same time. It's like, that was the first indication of like, oof, this looks real jank.
But it is strange that they try to make it look like the movie versions, but you don't have to do that. But I guess that was part of the deal. I don't know.
They also pretty much confirmed without saying that it's a live service game by saying it's going to have multiple story updates over years, with regular content updates happening on a regular basis, which basically means it's a live service game where they drop in content that should probably be at launch over like 3-month intervals. Like, oh, here's the next update for the story. And the way they dropped, they said that you can play by yourself or with your friends in like a drop in, drop out sort of situation. It seems very much like an Anthem or a Destiny.
Yeah, you're gonna do raids or something weird.
It's like, that for me is an instant turning off point. And also, without showing any gameplay, they talked about how there's not going to be any random loot boxes, so there's probably going to be cosmetics and any new. I went back and watched it because people are trying to debate it in chat when we watched it, but they said any new area and any new character will not be paid for. It will be completely free.
They definitely said character.
I went back and watched. They said any new area and any new character is completely free. So it's like, if they're going to do microtransactions, it's going to be like paid cosmetics. You pay $5, you get this skin.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't know how they would do any sort of continued marketing or continued
there are no season passes in that
revenue.
Case, so. Yeah, probably like $5 for this Captain America shield. It's the classic colors or something.
Yeah.
It will probably be dumb like that.
And they said they're showing off exclusive gameplay at E3, but they didn't show any gameplay here, and they're probably going to make it so you can't record any gameplay, so it's just going to be word of mouth, which
It'll get out there
really
somehow,
sucks because this
right?
game comes out next year and it's just like, you have gameplay, everybody wants to see it, just show it. For the love of God, just
People,
show it.
yeah, people will at least be able to talk about it. But the fact that there are going to be no micro, or no, they didn't say that. No loot boxes, no random loot boxes, but there's going to be probably paid cosmetics. They didn't confirm that, but that's like
Yeah, that's the only thing that would
probably the
make
thing.
sense. If they're going to have a live service game, they have to have some sort of revenue stream. And if you're taking out paid characters and areas and random loot boxes, all you really have left is either subscription service, which is going to turn people off even more, or you do paid cosmetics, which
Yeah,
most people don't have a problem with.
in this case, no loot boxes is bad because you won't have a random chance to get like that cool cosmetic. You just have to buy it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think like Overwatch has it down. That's like probably my favorite microtransaction system where it's like you get loot boxes just by playing. It can have like all this stuff in it, or you can just spend money and go and buy exactly the thing you want. To an extent, you buy like in-game currency, and then oh
Right.
wait, no, you can't buy it direct. You like save up coins or something, and you can get it directly. And it's like okay, that's like kind of nice. But this one's probably just gonna be like, nope, you just buy it. You buy
Right.
the game, then you have to buy the cosmetics.
Or they're going to get to the point where it's not quite you're buying a new character, but you're buying new powers for them. So, like, they say also, like, no pay to win stuff, but it's like you could buy variants of Thor's
XP boost,
Lightning or something like that, or XP boost, yeah, something like that.
pay to progress.
Time
That's
gates
something
and stuff
people,
like that.
yeah,
You
that's
could
something
do that as
people
well.
they can word around it
So yeah,
in
it's
that
like
way.
it's a super letdown to basically hear it as a live service game first and foremost, but it's like also you have gameplay. It's like if you showed that and it eased everyone's mind, like why would you not just show that? It's like my worry is that they're not showing the
Hmm.
gameplay because it confirms what people are thinking, that it is live service and it's going to be like an Anthem when it comes out. And it's like,
It's like people are all standing around, and then Iron Man drops in. They're like, "All right, let's go do this raid real quick and get our daily loot." Oh,
yeah,
I got this power gem. I got this Infinity Stone shard. I'll put it in my shield.
yeah. Going into Square Enix, like everyone I follow and kind of like hear stuff from, it's going in. It was Final Fantasy VII and Marvel's Avengers. That was the two things people want to see. Coming out of it, it was Final Fantasy VII was what they were excited for. Like
Hmm.
everyone completely dropped the Marvel's Avengers. Like,
Yeah, FF7 looks dope. And Avengers was like you didn't see that much, and you got information that was obscure and kind of disappointing.
mm-hmm.
Oh, also there are exclusive hints for PS4 only,
Yeah,
so probably Spider-Man or some early beta access. They said.
they said early beta access, and they will have specialized content because they didn't want to say exclusive. They said specialized content for PS4 users, which is also another thing that's super shitty, especially in this day and age when like every company's getting blasted for that. To come out and be like, "Yeah, we have stuff for our PS4 users." It's like, really, you're gonna throw that in there too,
Yeah,
and for that to get applause afterwards, like, wow.
yeah, that was weird. It was like people, it was like raving applause. It was like, what do you? Why is everyone crazy? I feel like the crowd here was worse than the Bethesda crowd. They were just insane.
Yeah.
Uh, mute the goddamn crowd mic or turn it down because it was so distracting at some point.
Yeah, I mean, even if you turn it down, it's like presenters were being interrupted more and more this year, especially after
Mhm.
everyone kind of found out that whoever yelled out to Keanu Reeves about
Oh,
being breathtaking
breathtaking.
got a copy of Cyberpunk from the devs. It's like, oh, if I
It's like,
yell
oh,
out
we're
to whoever comes on stage,
rewarding this.
yeah, maybe I'll get something to it. So it just got worse and worse, and it's like, it all the crowds, like Bethesda's crowd, Square Enix, like Ubisoft was kind of calm, but it's like it.
Ubisoft was fine, but that's because they had nothing to cheer about
Right. But I mean, Bethesda
except
and
for a
Square
dog.
Enix were kind of the big ones. Like, all right, just you really
Yeah.
need to calm down.
Oh God, could you imagine if you could hear a crowd mic for the Nintendo Directs?
Yeah.
That'd be awful. I'm glad they do directs now.
The biggest surprise, at least for Square Enix, was Outriders, I believe it was, but
Oh yeah.
we've got very small amounts of gameplay in the background of them talking about it. So, looking forward to what that game's about, but I can't say I'm quite hyped because it was mostly cinematics. So that looks like a 3-player drop in, drop out sort of thing. I don't know.
Just like 10 other games throughout E3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marvel. Yay.
And then today,
coming out March next year, I think.
Yeah, March. A lot of stuff is coming out March of next year. It's gonna be.
So is F7, I think.
Yeah, there's like a ton from every conference is like coming out in March. Like Cyberpunk's coming out in April, and
dude, March is gonna be lit.
I think a lot of stuff will either get pushed early or get pushed late, or like delayed a couple months, because that's what happened this year in February. Like Days Gone, Metro Exodus, some other games were all scheduled to come out like February 14th or February 20th, and like right around that time there's a bunch of games, and then a lot of them got pushed a little early. A lot of them got delayed a month or two. It's just like it kind of spreads out. So
yeah,
we'll see. But
I can't wait for Cyberpunk. Oh my god.
Going on Nintendo, which was earlier today, kind of mentioned it already, but it's like I was going into this like, all right, I want them to sell. Every time I go into a Nintendo Direct, I want them to sell me on a Switch. I want to buy a Switch, but you're just not giving me anything to go out and spend $300. Like, and this one wasn't any different. It's just, if I already owned a Switch, I might pick up these games when they're on sale, like Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing, stuff for Smash is cool, but it's like
Witcher 3 on Switch looks real garbage.
Yeah, the quality of that looked pretty.
My goodness. But I mean, that's there. But I echo what you said. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this press conference that was this game coming to Switch, remaster coming to Switch, this thing coming to Switch. It's like, okay, Alien Isolation coming to Switch, cool. I played that game. Not gonna play it in lower quality on Switch. So, I don't know. No Metroid Prime.
Yeah, no news in Metroid, which makes sense because it was reported that they basically scrapped everything and had to rebuild it. So it's like, much like Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6, we probably won't see it until 2021, 2022. So
yeah,
it's
as long as it's finished.
But
yeah,
they came out and gave a teaser a couple years ago of just the logo. It's like, you could, I mean, it'd be stupid to come out and do another logo, but it's like, give me something Metroid, like, please.
Again. We updated the logo. I from Chops saying Picross is really good on Switch. I've heard good things about Picross.
I mean, yeah, Picross is fun, but it's not. I'm not paying $100 for each Picross game, essentially.
Picross console.
But yeah, there's like Resident Evil going. Let's break into, not break in, but let's go to this spooky place in the woods to play a Resident Evil game on the Switch.
You could play your Switch in a spooky house. Doesn't that make you want it?
No.
Rooftop parties, motherfucker. Play Splatoon in an esports stadium or something.
Yeah, a Metroid Prime trilogy or something Metroid would have been nice to have. Like we said before, having maybe the new versions of the Switch, at least like talked about, maybe even not like price points or when they're coming, but like, hey, we're working on a Switch XL or a Switch Mini or something like that would have been kind of nice.
Yeah, and I wonder what that would like entail. Like, what would a smaller scale Switch do? And I guess it would just be like no physical, like no.
I would imagine the Joy-Cons are physically attached. Yeah,
or something like that.
So it's more like the Wii U gamepad, essentially, is what you're carrying around. Maybe no dock.
Maybe no.
So it's just handheld.
You have to play it on a TV.
That too, something like that.
That would defeat a lot of the purpose, though.
But I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine that they would come out this holiday season, unless they do a direct sometime soon, just to get like retails on board and everything. So it's like, if they're going for next year holiday season, well, then you're looking at competing with the next Xbox and maybe the PlayStation 5, and it's like, you know, that seems like a bad time to put out your new version of the Switch when everyone else is buying the Xbox, whatever it's going to be, and
Yeah.
PS5.
Oh, we didn't really talk about that, but there's not much on Project Scarlet other than
Yeah.
SSDs. They got SSDs now. These nuts, or a mixed drive or hybrid drive or something. I don't know.
I hope they just come out and call it the Xbox.
The Xbox.
The Xbox.
Yeah. So some of the games for Nintendo's Direct that stood out to me were Astral Chain, which is a platinum game, I think. And it's where you're playing as some anime policewoman and you take control of enemies and they kind of like do stuff for you, or you ride them, or they help you solve puzzles. The gameplay looks fucking badass. It looks like real Bayonetta looking, crazy cyberpunk looking stuff. It just looks real cool, and I want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I was like, holy fuck. I forgot this was a game that was talked about at some point, and they showed a lot of gameplay.
Yeah.
That and Daemon X Machina, which is the kind of Armored Core looking Nintendo game.
Yeah.
They show more of that, but oh yeah, Project Scarlet frame rates never before seen, like 120. Yeah, that was funny. Speaking of frame rates, all of the trailers in the Nintendo Direct look awful. They're
Yeah.
pixelated, and the frame rates, especially for Ultimate Alliance and Daemon X Machina, were so low.
I think
and
it
so
was in
choppy.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance, where we like noticeably saw like a complete dip in frames to like 10 frames a second, maybe even less. It was like a really bad just drop out. I was like,
we both were like, oh
yeah,
my god, what just happened in that scene?
But like the quality is like it was kind of hard to tell if it was the compression through the stream or if that, like, I haven't watched any of the trailers outside of the Direct itself, like uploads, if they look better, maybe they do, but if that's the case where they look that bad, like that's like Witcher 3, like that looked really bad. Even for the Switch, that looks like regular DS style graphics. But maybe I'm being a little harsh, but it was, I mean, it's cool to see stuff ported over, like the Spyro trilogy, Witcher 3, the Resident Evil series. You know, we got the Contra series coming back, the Collection of Mana being updated. I don't know if one of those was a new game or if those are all previous games just being updated.
I'm think Trials was a remake or remaster or something. I have no idea. But it looked like it was a bunch of previous ones. I'm watching the Witcher 3 official trailer upload to their channel. It looks bad.
Okay, so it wasn't like just the stream itself.
Yeah, there's a crow landing on a hanging body amongst a bunch of hanging bodies. The ones in the background are super low res, out of focus, and the crow and the body in frame are like, they look like GameCube models.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't look good at all.
But it's like we also have Link's Awakening, which is technically a remaster.
Yeah, and that looks fine. I think you said it best. Link just kind of looks like one of those old Christmas story movies.
Yeah, it's
Christmas
like
movies.
One of those old like stop motion Christmas movies. Like he looks like he's an elf from one of those movies. It's like it takes me out of that game. But
I like the way the bosses look, but yeah, Link just looks off in a weird way. But that game's pretty fun. If they fixed some of the, I actually played that game recently, like a month or two ago. Game's pretty fun. There's some quality of life issues, but I'm sure they can fix it. But that's a cool remaster.
And I think the two other big things were Animal Crossing finally got a trailer for New Horizon, which, as I mentioned during the Direct, it's like Animal Crossing's fun, but it was, for me, a game I'd play when I was a kid, and like I only had so many games, and I just want to spend some time doing something. It's like nowadays I couldn't invest personally. It's like I know people who will spend time to take care of a town and build up a town and pay off the debt, which is like the story in the game. To like build up your house, you take out a loan and then you slowly pay it back over time, much like life.
I love paying off debt like life. But I guess I can't say shit because I'm excited about Shenmue, which is also mundane life shit.
And then the Smash announcements, which were the Dragon Quest Hero Does he have a name, or is it just the hero?
The hero.
The hero, and then Banjo-Kazooie finally getting announced, which is amazing. It's been
pretty big.
a fan request for forever, basically.
Yeah, it really has been.
And
good fake out too.
I thought it was weird, and I've since read about why it's not weird, of having the same fake out with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
King K. Rool.
Yeah, doing that same fake out again, but it's because Donkey Kong's also rare, so it's like they're celebrating another rare character coming into Smash, which is cool. I didn't put that together initially.
Oh yeah, yeah. It even said raring to go.
Yeah, like I knew Banjo was rare, but I had forgotten Donkey Kong also came from rare, and Banjo made his first appearance in Diddy Kong Racing and all that stuff back in the day.
True, so did Conker.
Yep. So
before they realized what Conker was all about.
It's cool to see. I wouldn't main him in Smash, but I'd be curious to play him. Maybe this opens the door for more characters like that. Like I said, maybe Conker sneaks his way in Smash. It'd be a hard sell, but you know, it was also cool to see like Phil Spencer and Grant Kirkhope, and like everyone be like, "Yay, this is such a cool moment of getting this to work."
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't much care. I said that earlier, but this is a cool little cinematic to see, and seeing Banjo with his moveset, I was like, okay,
yeah, just the history that Rare and Nintendo have, and now it's like Rare's with Microsoft, and Rare being in the state they are now, to see Banjo getting smashed is a cool moment.
It's like same energy as when Cloud was introduced.
Yeah,
to Smash. It was like, holy, what the fuck is happening?
I still echo my same sentiment. Is I'm waiting for someone to figure out how to do a collaboration with different IPs in gaming that's not a fighting game and or a kart racing. Like do like a Mario Party game for PlayStation, or
Sonic and Mario Olympic games.
Yeah, or do Sonic and Mario with Xbox titles or something.
Yeah.
Because I want to see more IPs crossover. That's my favorite thing in comics. It's my favorite thing in like movies.
Marvel vs. Capcom is dope.
It's like, yeah, Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles doing stuff in comics and cartoons now. It's like, that stuff's fucking awesome. But it's like, I don't necessarily love fighting games. So it's like, cool, they're all in a fighting game, but it's not something I'm going to go play because I'll play for like an hour and get bored. It's like...
Didn't Quake kind of do that with some... like Doom Guy or something?
Yeah, they put Doom Guy and BJ Blazkowicz into Quake Champions, but
do they have like the guns that they have or abilities to some extent?
Actually, I don't know if Doom Guy's in it. I think just BJ's in it. I don't know if Doom Guy's official. I played Quake Champions a little bit at the very beginning, like before it was even out. Doom Guy's in it. Okay, I couldn't remember if that was official or if I was just in a fever dream. But it's like that was well after my time, so I just didn't really pay attention or care about it. So
another
I mean, stuff like that is, if you have a shooter, put your shooter heroes in it from the same franchise. Like if they, I mean, Commander Keen wouldn't really fit in that situation, but stuff like that.
Another kind of talking about something related to Doom or id, John Romero of Romero Games, he had a game during Nintendo Direct that was the mobster XCOM looking game, Empire of Sin, that's coming to Switch. I think it's exclusively on Switch, which was... that whole thing was weird. I didn't realize that was Romero Games until I looked at it again. And I was like, oh, I mean, making that game and that game being on Switch only, like, that's just all weird.
I saw that it was Romero Games, and I was like, is that John Romero's? I thought that initially, but I was like, this doesn't seem like a John Romero game, so I guess I'm just thinking of something different, a different company. But yeah, that's
it. There it is. And is he releasing... did he release whatever the fuck it's called?
Sigil?
Sigil, yeah.
Yeah, Sigil came out. I haven't played it. I've heard pretty overwhelming negative things from it. Some people have said decent things about it. That's not too bad. But a lot of people say it's just like not that creative or that inspired. It's basically episode 5 of Ultimate Doom, so it uses a lot of assets again from just Doom. It doesn't involve anything from Doom 2 or later games. But just like the level design, I heard, is not that great, and a lot of you either love it or hate it. And it seems like most people are leaning more towards the hate side. So it's I'll try it at some point soon, but yeah, it's not.
That's unfortunate to hear.
Not doing too
Love it
well.
or hate it. Okay. Interesting. On Pokemon Sword and Shield, they showed a lot of gameplay during the treehouse afterwards. I'm not into Pokemon, but I do think it's cool that they do God game where you actually run around the world and like you see Pokemon in bushes and you run into them. That's neat.
Yeah, it's kind of from
That's pretty much
the
all.
Let's Go Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee. That's what they did there. It's kind of
Oh, okay.
it's kind of incorporating the people who jumped on with Pokemon Go, getting them into more of a mainline Pokemon series without drastically changing the mainline Pokemon games away from their core stuff. So it's like it's a cool mix. My problem with Pokemon Sword and Shield is kind of I think it's Dynamax, where basically Pokemon become kaiju for like 3 moves or something like that.
Yeah.
They grow to like
I don't like
being
that.
3 stories tall for some reason.
For just no reason.
Yeah.
They just normal fight, but they're bigger, and it's just like this is just more is more. That's what I'm feeling from
Pokemon's kind of like tested the waters. They've done I can't remember what it's called, but like the evolution.
Oh,
The
Mega Evolution?
Yeah, the Mega Evolutions and stuff, and then they
Mega-
did like the special attacks that each kind of character gets. I don't remember what they're called either, but they've tried to incorporate something beyond just the 3rd evolution of Pokemon. Like they get a special thing for a certain amount of moves, or they get a Mega Evolution. It's like this is another attempt at that, but it seems so un-Pokemon like. It's like, oh, we grow 3 stories tall for some reason for like 10 minutes, and then we go back like, okay, what? Why?
This is to go even further beyond.
Yeah, it's like I really like the Mega Evolution thing, where basically it's like they don't necessarily evolve, but for like that battle they get stronger to an extent. It's like that was a cool way to do it, but they kind of just dropped that whole idea.
To me, it just looks like they make them bigger, but they're like still the same power, and they just still fight, but they're bigger. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, I get the point is to make it look like something cool is happening, but really, when you think about it, it's just
the same thing. It's just they're just bigger. Yeah.
Just being excessive for the sake of being excessive, but whatever.
Also, anytime I see giant Pokemon, I see Pokemon floats, because that's been in like Smash, the Poke Float stage. They've had Pokemon parades like in Text Pikachu and stuff. It's like when I see a giant Pokemon, I think, oh, that's a giant balloon. So it's like that's supposed to be this big powerful thing. It's like, well, all I see is a balloon, which is the opposite of intimidating.
To show off higher res models
on the Switch.
Sure. Yeah, on showing off that real power, the raw power of the Switch. So, 2 other big things I guess we didn't really hit on. Luigi's Mansion 3.
We kind of talked about.
Did we? Okay. Lots of multiplayer. That's the only thing.
The thing that bothers me about Luigi's Mansion 3 is that it's not in a mansion. It's in a hotel.
It's in a hotel. Luigi's Hotel 1 is what they should have called it with the number.
Yeah, it's like it's not a mansion. It's not. Why are you calling it Luigi's Mansion?
Luigi's been investing, and he's got more money than ever. He's a mogul of.
I don't know if 2 was in a mansion or not. I don't even remember 2 or when it came out or what it was for.
I think that was a DS game.
Okay, was it? That's probably why I skipped over it.
Something Moon.
Dark Moon, maybe.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon.
It was on the moon.
Yeah, it just bugs me that it's not a mansion.
You can be Gooigi.
Yeah, you can be Flubber.
It's like 8-player co-op to some extent. It's like, holy, why would you ever be?
I think that's like
Luigi's Mansion,
a straight up like multiplayer mini game thing. It's not for the story. You can do co-op when you have the Flubber mode out. I'm not calling it whatever the hell it is. But
Gooigi.
Yeah.
It's cool. Okay. Sorry, go on.
It's just like I think the 8-player mode or whatever is just like a battle mini game.
Probably.
Because I would find it very hard to believe they put 8-player co-op in the story.
I don't even know what you would do in that game with that many people. They finished the whole thing with the Breath of the Wild sequel announcement, and it's it's interesting. I love Breath of the Wild. I did play that on Wii U. It's one of the only games I played on my goddamn Wii U. But that game is real fun, and it's cool that this is a sequel they announced instead of like, oh, just here's a new Zelda and a new world, and here's what
Mhm.
Link looks like now. So it's kind of like a Majora's Mask situation, I guess, where it's like, okay, we're still in the same Hyrule, but things are going to be way different. Here's this new villain that looks like a Dark Souls boss, and
Yeah, they've
yeah,
done sequels in the past, like Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass and Link Between Worlds and whatever the other one was. Not a Link to the Past, but whatever the one for like the 3DS was. Like they've done sequels in the past for sure. So
Spirit Train tracks or something.
no, there's one that it was basically in the same world as years and years later.
Wait, what was the Wind Waker sequel?
Phantom Hourglass. It was
Oh,
another
okay.
one for the 3DS.
Oh, that's right.
For
Link Between
3DS.
Worlds, something. Yeah, so I'm into that. It has like a real dark feel to it, like I guess like Majora's Mask. I don't know if they're going for that kind of thread, but
A Link
Breath of the
Between
Wild is good.
Worlds is the one I was thinking of. I
Link
don't.
Between Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's Spirit Tracks. I don't know if that's like a sequel or something to something.
Yeah, I don't remember. I briefly remember playing it. I don't remember if it. So yeah, it's a Link to the Past and a Link Between Worlds. I think is the sequel to that one.
Cool.
But yeah, they're not any stranger to doing sequels, so it's cool to see. I have a Wii U. I could play Breath of the Wild, but it's like I'm still waiting on just getting. It's like that's not a selling point for me getting a Switch because I could just go buy the game and play it on my Wii if I wanted to. But it's
Hmm.
I'd rather wait until I got a Switch and then I'd go back and find it, on sale and get it then.
Yeah, it probably looks better on Switch, I think too.
Yeah.
Even though the Wii U version is perfectly playable and fine from my memory. Yeah, so that'll be coming probably before Metroid Prime 3.
I'd absolutely come before Metroid Prime 4 at this point. Three is already out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Three came out on the
Whatever.
Wii.
The Metroid game that people are
Yeah.
mad about all the time. This
All
will
the
probably
time.
come out before that.
Yeah. I'm sure it will at this point.
Yeah. And nothing else. No F-Zero, which is not a surprise, but I wish it was there.
No Beautiful Joe for Smash, which
No
was
Beautiful Joe at all.
yeah, very
Which
disappointing.
is
Another E3 without Beautiful Joe.
a tragedy, to be sure.
A
So,
real tragedy.
in conclusion, we decided to do a fun little thing where we give out some trophies to these people who make these games or do these conferences or whatever, and then talk about our top 10 games that were shown, whether they are trailers, gameplay, out now, coming soon, just top 10 games
Mm-hmm.
that were mentioned at E3. So,
And we don't have physical trophies. They're just some nice mental awards for things.
mental.
And I don't have
Absolutely
your list up,
mental.
so if you want to go through them, and I'll.
Okay, yeah. So, starting off, well, this is not in any particular order, but
Yeah,
uh,
I wrote them all down. So
best gameplay that was
best
shown.
gameplay.
Thank you, Chops, for the trophy. We'll use that and send
Mhm.
emotes to all these people. What do you have for best gameplay at
I
E3?
put down Watch Dogs because they gave they went out there, they showed like, hey, this is what we're trying to do, even if there's some questions. Even with Doom Eternal coming out, it's like it's not quite what I wanted from the gameplay. Like I said, I wanted to see more of the in between arenas. Like we already knew the fighting's going to be great. It's like Watch Dogs came out and said, hey, this is a pretty lengthy part of our gameplay, showing off the different people that you can be, kind of what we're aiming to do. So it's like for me, because there wasn't a whole lot of gameplay throughout all of E3, which is a continuing problem. It's like I gave that to them.
Mm-hmm. I actually put the exact same thing. Watch Dogs Legion. They like showed the most gameplay, like straight up. Even if it's like not going to be the actual gameplay, I was like, this is like all their concepts and what they want to do. This is very cool to see,
Mhm.
like more than any other game. Um, Oh, and if you want to stay in chat, we can shout you out in chat. Suicide Machine says my friend Pedro. I was considering putting that, but I've already seen gameplay of that for so long that I was like,
Right.
oh,
We also
else.
had that exact same trailer drop like last week,
Yeah.
so it's like if we had seen,
it still looks
new
badass
footage,
though.
yeah, looks. I
But
actually had Watch Dogs, but right underneath it, I had Final Fantasy VII because they showed a pretty
Yeah.
good amount of Final Fantasy VII and actually kind of sold me.
Same.
Like I said, I want to see more of the fighting and see if it's tedious, but it's like to get me on board to thinking about playing a Final Fantasy game, like it also did a great job. And then underneath that, I had Doom. So those are mine.
After that, so congratulations, Watch Dogs. Best cinematic trailer.
Oh, you want me? I gave it to I gave it to Ghostwire, hands down.
Okay. I was about to give it to Ghostwire, but I gave it to Cyberpunk because I'm biased. Because Keanu Reeves is in it.
Yeah.
So that's just probably the best goddamn thing ever in the world. But yeah, Ghostwire as well.
Yeah. It
fucking looks so cool.
It was a hard choice because we got a lot of cinematic trailers, and there. I've said it. I said it many times throughout E3, and I still think there's so many great cinematics of games. Just like I want a 6-part miniseries of just like that level of quality of cinematic for something, even if it's not for an official game. Just like of that quality, I want that on like Netflix or wherever it goes. Just if you're gonna show me a trailer, give me gameplay, and just take the cinematics and make a miniseries or a movie. That's what I want.
Make the Warcraft movie.
Yeah.
Which wasn't too bad, but it looked pretty cool. After that, so best cinematic, I said Cyberpunk. You say Ghostwire.
Yep.
Both looked fucking badass. Biggest disappointment of the conference.
I don't think I even need to say mine with how we were talking about stuff, but Avengers.
Whoa.
Avengers was an absolute letdown.
Marvel's A.
Like I think even them coming out and saying it was an MMO, I would have been more on board for that than what they did.
I'm actually gonna go ahead and say Commander Keen was my biggest disappointment that I wasn't even ready for, because I have actually been playing some of the Commander Keen games because they were on sale on Steam. So I was like, I've never played these. So I started playing through it, and I was like, this is just like a fun little platformer. And then it was like, Commander Keen, the mobile game. I was like, what? Like, I wasn't even knowing I didn't need this.
I just gave it to Avengers because it's something we've known about for years. Like it's in the works. Like, oh, what is this Avengers game that's coming out? And it's like, even though Commander Keen sucks that it went that way, it's like this physically it just hurt to see.
Yeah. Shouts to Chops. Shenmue 3. I wasn't too disappointed by Shenmue 3's trailer, but I'm just waiting. I'm optimistic. Yeah. So after that, most worrisome game. The game you are the most worried for in the future. It's not necessarily disappointing, but has you worried.
Yeah, I gave it to Avengers again.
Yeah, I was about to say. We just came up with these, but yeah some are overlapping. Mine was Watch Dogs Legion.
I thought about that, but I was like, there's still like a very sliver of hope for Avengers, even though I'm like completely disappointed. Like if they show gameplay in like a month and it squashes all of those fears I have about it, then I could be back on board. But I'm worried it's just what I think it is, and
yeah,
it's a shitty game better than no game. No, it is not.
So they get 2 trophies for bad things. After that is the You Didn't Even Try award.
I gave this Commander Keen.
Damn,
they didn't try. They're like, all right, Commander Keen, mobile, fuck it. Yep. We need an IP and a mobile game. Boom, slap them together. There you go.
Boom. Money. Boom. I gave it to Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC Remind.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they were just mouthing words and they put text in there, and then they were attacking each other, and it was just music. There was no other sound. And then it ended, and it was called Remind. And I was like,
yeah, that's up there too.
Didn't even try. After that is best presenter.
Yeah, this is hard because it's like, how do you? Anyone that comes on stage is basically a presenter. Is the way I took it. So Keanu Reeves, I think, just hands down took it. But it's like you kind of have to take presenter and celebrity appearance out of the way as well. But I think Keanu. Because how do you beat Keanu
That's
Reeves?
good.
You can't. Have you seen John Wick? You can't beat him. It's not possible.
You can't be. He'll shoot you.
Yeah.
I was torn on this between 3 different presenters, but I have to give it to Bam Bam, the
Okay.
dog.
I think Bam Bam gets his own category of just best dog.
I actually had that, and I took it off because I thought it was too silly. But
Was there are a couple dogs that showed up throughout different trailers, and every other time those dogs end up dying. Final Fantasy VII had dogs that died. Some anime game for Nintendo, I think, had dogs and died.
Resident Evil, zombie dogs.
Zombie dogs, and maybe that's what it was, died. It's like Bam Bam didn't die.
Bullet from Blair Witch. That was a dog.
Yeah.
You send him out to do stuff, and I'm sure he dies.
He just disappears. He's probably the evil. He's probably the witch. The Blair
oh
Witch.
My god. No, it's not possible. Next one I have is the Wish You Were Here award for something you wanted to see, but it was just in your imagination.
I'll let you go first.
I put Starfield.
Okay.
I want to see a lot more on Starfield because I do like Bethesda's in-house stuff a lot in Starfield. If it's something sci-fi related, and Bethesda's putting that patented buggy time and care into it, I want to see it.
Right. I gave it to the Switch models. It's like, once again, it's I'm waiting for Nintendo to sell me on a Switch. So it's I wanted them to come out and be like, this is what's going to make you buy a Switch, and it's like, once again, that's not there. Other than that, I would have put a better Avengers game. I wish that was there.
You're just adding it there. Somehow Avengers is gonna get this trophy. Wish you were there. The Avengers I wanted. Yeah. Okay.
Or I thought about Beautiful Joe, but on a more serious note, I wanted Switch models.
Cool.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or as I talked about earlier, Midway Games. If they bring back anything from them, that'd be dope. Cruising game,
they have a lot of cool
Gauntlet
stuff
game,
be doing.
NFL
Make
Blitz.
Blitz. Oh my god, Blitz is so fun. I played that in arcade recently.
Put NFL Blitz into Mortal Kombat.
Just make like a remaster pack and then release it as like NBA Jam, Blitz, Cruising USA. It's just like a little arcade like thing for every console. Fuck it. Okay, these last two are already kind of answered, but worst conference and then best conference.
Yeah, quick. Ubisoft worst, Microsoft best. I'm taking Devolver out of just that. It's like, because I don't really count it as a conference itself. It's like a fun time. But in terms of like an overall conference, I gave it to Microsoft. Microsoft wins E3. All you Nintendo fans can at me on Twitter.
I hate fun. I love guns.
Hate anime.
No, Nintendo's fine. But Microsoft, pound for pound, just so much more going on. Yeah. And now, top 10 games. I guess we can both go 10 to 1.
10 to 1. So like my 6 through 10, I wasn't really sure on the order I want to put them. Like my 1 through 5 I have locked down, but like 6 through 10, it could kind of change up order.
Go in any order. Okay. We'll both do that. How about that?
So we want to go 10 to 1. So if we go, let's go like 10 to 6 and we can go in the top 5 after that. I have Moons of Madness at 10, which was a game shown off at the PC showcase. Looks kind of horror-esque, but not a whole lot came out on it. Chivalry 2, once again, interesting to see where that goes. My Friend Pedro, which comes out on the 20th. Maneater Game, which is the shark, and then Blair Witch for my 6 through 10.
All right. My 6 through 10 are Fall Guys, the Devolver thing. Did you say that one?
No, I did not.
Okay. Fall Guys, the 100-player death run. Chivalry 2 as well.
Both at 9.
Astral Chain, which was the platinum one for Switch. Jedi Fallen Order, because I'm not too excited about it. I'm happy I saw stuff on it, but I'm on the fence. And I put Doom Eternal in this list
Okay.
because it didn't quite. I like Doom, but I'm not like super
Mhm.
crazy about Doom. But it's still like I'm gonna be playing it.
Right.
So yeah. So number 5. How do
Number
we want to do
5,
this?
I have Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay. I
Uh,
have Ghostwire Tokyo.
okay. I'm just gonna run through my top 4 because they
Yeah,
all kind of
sure.
go together. But it's like I have Cyberpunk. I'm still not entirely sold. I want to see like actual gameplay and stuff, updated gameplay. I know there's some out there, but it's a year old at this point, and they've said they've reworked it. But the Keanu Reeves really helped sell me on it, and it just the world looks
Hmm.
cool. But the top 4, it should come as no surprise, are all from Bethesda published games. So Wolfenstein Youngblood at 4, Deathloop at 3, Ghostwire at 2, and Doom Eternal at 1.
Nice.
Like I kind of want to put Cyberpunk up higher, but it's like Doom Eternal and Wolfenstein games I knew coming into this I wanted, I still want. But then Ghostwire and Deathloop looked like new IPs from companies I know and can kind of trust to deliver good games, and cinematics are dope. So
Hell yeah.
I'm a Bethesda published gamer, so
Yeah,
it's
you're
hard for
biased.
any game to come out of that
You're
not on
paid.
top. I'm a paid shill. Give me money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's us.
Where's my
We're the
Bethesda shirt?
welcome
Woo,
to
Bethesda 76 Fallout. Oh,
Paid Shill Saint and Beers. My number 5 was Ghostwire Tokyo, just because goddamn, I'm super interested, even though there's no gameplay. Same exact thing for with my number 4, which is Elden Ring, because I love me some Souls games, and if there is a cool medieval fantasy story written by a cool dude who's known for making a good story, which I've never watched any Game of Thrones or read the books, but apparently it's good. I'm excited for that. Number 3, Fantasy Star Online 2, because fuck, I want to play that game. I've wanted to play it for so long, and it's finally coming west. It's not going to be that good at all, but I'm just excited for it. My number 2 is FF7 Remake, and number 1 is Cyberpunk 2077.
okay.
I am
You didn't
so mine's a
throw
lot different than yours.
Crossfire X up on the list.
Crossfire X.
That was the where he did the water underwater like signals and stuff.
Oh
The
yeah.
Chinese Counter Strike game that is getting a remake.
Oh my god. I
But
forgot about that trailer. I have no idea what's going on in that trailer.
once
So yeah.
once again, it's kind of middle of the road E3. You know, nothing too surprising coming out of it. Got some
True.
cool little things. You know, things we didn't
Yeah,
expect. Like Ghostwire, I think is once again just like the biggest surprise to everybody. Like, oh, that looks really cool. Don't know anything about it, but it looks dope. Some games we knew got cooler trailers, like some more updates. Cyberpunk, Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein, stuff like that. Final Fantasy VII. I think next E3 when they show off the Xbox, whatever it's going to be, maybe Sony comes back with the PS5 and some Last of Us 2 updates. Death Stranding, maybe when it. Death Stranding has a date,
a
a
release
release
date.
date, don't they? We'll probably
Yes.
see some some Starfield stuff, maybe. I think
November.
it kind of sucks to like already be thinking like E3 next year is gonna be so hype and so big, but we're kind of in that lull of just waiting for the next generation of stuff to hit. So it's like companies are kind of just waiting to get to that and holding on to
hanging
their bigger
loose.
IPs and
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I'm still coming out of this like super excited for a lot of these
oh
games.
yeah, for sure.
And like there wasn't as much as I would have expected, but goddamn if I'm not looking forward to like so many things like that I don't get excited playing a lot of games anymore. Maybe it's just getting old and whatever. But a lot of these I'm like, fuck, I want to go back and play like Final Fantasies. I want to go back and play some I want to
Commander
play Evil
Keens.
Evil Within. I'm gonna keep playing the Commander Keens. I don't stream it, but you know, it's fun. Chivalry 2? Fuck yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
This is a funny 3.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff.
Like I said, I wish I'd gotten more big drops, but it's understandable that, you know, those things just aren't either in the works or are going to take their time, which is fine if they're going to take their time. But yeah, I
Yes.
mean, there's always next year. There's always, you know, we'll get PlayStation, whatever they're called, State of Plays. We'll get more Nintendo
State of
Directs
Play.
throughout the years and some other things.
EA
So
Play.
It'll be
Yeah.
interesting. It seems like next March into April is where everything's dumping. Their release date. We'll see if any of that changes. What happens? What gets delayed? Something is going to pop out as being delayed.
Probably. Yeah, there's so many things that were like, it's coming out in July or September. I'm
There's
like,
a lot of things that say we're coming out in 2019, but we don't have a release date, or we're looking at before next E3, but we don't have a release date. It's like that's kind of
or
kind of
just
sketchy.
2020. It's like, oh, they're just saying 2020 because it's going to take a long time, and then it might go into 2021.
Right.
But yeah, that's all anomalous, and anything could happen. Who has more ripped arms between you and me?
I don't know. Stay tuned. We will do a contest at SGDQ.
Oh yeah,
we'll do it in person, where we can actually
arm off,
figure it out.
we'll
Stay delayed
with each other.
But once again, if you want to go back and watch any of our co-streams and reactions and discussions on more specific stuff, you can check out all of our stuff on YouTube. It's all up, all 7 conferences. So about 20 minutes usually of discussion afterwards on stuff. So you can just head on over to YouTube. Check us out on Twitter, our website, bloodsaintbeers.com. Twitter is bloodsaintbeers as well, where we put up this podcast. Check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that stuff. So that will wrap it up for this week and all of our E3 coverage of this year. Get back into some stuff before SGQ at the end of the month and all that good stuff. I got to shift into Gears for that. But yeah, it was fun couple of days.
Yeah, shout outs to people in chat who hung out with us during the co-streams. Thanks for watching. That was super fun. Might do it again next year. Who knows?
Yeah, we might dabble.
If we're still around, which we probably will be because we're not doing anything else.
We're gonna be delayed. Yeah,
we're delaying the podcast till next E3.
But you got any big plans coming up post E3 before we?
No, just getting ready for SGDQ. I'm ready for hanging out with people, having a nice vacation, and thinking about playing some Final Fantasy VIII. There's actually a cool mod out that I'm probably gonna try to play called the Ragnarok mod, which takes a lot of aspects of the game that are really easy to break to any like person who plays FF8 a lot, and it kind of like tunes that and bumps up the difficulty. So I'm looking into that. Might stream some FF8. Who knows? What about you? What do you be up to?
So as I took like all of last week off from streaming, I've been focusing on just taking time to myself and getting work done on stuff behind the scenes, and then just going through E3. So it's starting tomorrow. I'm hoping to get back into streaming. I'm not 100% sure on what. I still have to quite figure that out, and going forward before SGDQ happens in like we said, 2 weeks. So got a little bit of time to stream and get back into that whole groove, and then figuring out stuff beyond that. So that's what I got going on for me. That's going to wrap up episode 35, Blood, Saint, and Beers. Thank you guys again for watching. Woo! And you can, like we said, check us out at Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, website. All stuff's coming. But yeah, we will see you guys next week. Thank you for hanging out with us. Good night.